Ahoy, landlubbers, it's me, your Captain Vasco speaking. And welcome to another stream. It's Friday, September 23rd, 2022, and we're here for another installment of 999. Last week a lot of things happened, sort of. This game has an interesting pace to it. It, like, there aren't, like, a huge number of story events the way that, like, for example, the Somnium Files games have just, like, a needlessly overwhelming number of individual events that happen when very few of them matter all that much. As I've been reflecting on those games that we've been playing for much of this year, with some hindsight, and also playing through a game that I feel like already sort of did its core concepts better many years ago. I definitely feel like Somnium Files struggles a lot with trying to shoehorn in as many characters as possible. All other reasons be darned. Like, there's just nothing else matters so much as just force feeding you characters whether you like them or not. And I feel like it leads to a lot of, like, not even filler. I feel like that's too generous. Like bloat, like stuff that could easily be cut and not change the game in any demonstrably negative way. But yeah, so in this game, a lot of things happen, but it, it's sort of just implied that, like, an hour and a half of time will pass or something, and then, like, a few important things happen during that time frame, and then we attempt to escape more. So to be precise, last time we started in the big old hospital room, filled with many beds and 3 numbered doors. But we had only recently discovered that room, and when we first got there, the components that make the reds, the sort of device that operates numbered doors and allows you to enter them, were non-functional. They were missing physical components in order to function properly. So the 8 players who had not yet exploded decided to split up and search a massive corridor of unlabeled rooms on this sinking ship that we suspect may be the Titanic, or its sister ship, the Gigantic. And I think we had dedicated an hour or like an hour and a half or something to the pursuit of that search. And by the time we had elapsed our allotted time, Junpei, our sort of player surrogate character, returned to the hospital room to find that everyone but one player was now accounted for, and now the machines were working, which is an interesting combination of events. So we spent some time looking for the missing player, who was Snake, also known as Clover's brother, and we were unable to find him. And so, knowing that we had a ticking clock of, in some 9 hours, in order to escape this deadly game alive, we decided to move onward after much discussion of sacrificing a player, since there was no way to go through all 3 of the doors available to us from the hospital room, the new numbered doors we had located. And so after doing some quick math, and in my position, allowing the game to do it because I couldn't be bothered, the most efficient way to do things was to leave Ace, number 1, behind, and then team up into 2 groups from there. We went into the number 8 door and found the laboratory, where we worked together with Lotus, number 8, and Clover, number 4, to, solve a typical escape room. And by typical in this sense, I mean there's a flammable robot in one room that gets separated from the other players by prison bars, and then Lotus spent like 20 minutes typing as loudly as humanly possible, because that's what hacking is. But, after a little bit of finagling, we managed to escape that room. Found that both our door, and I think the 7 doors the one the other group went through.
I don't need a map to get to Bone Town.
We'll get to that. But no, we don't need a map to get to Bone Town, even though we did find a map of decks like C and E last week, I think. So we get back, we find that all rooms lead back to Rome, or more specifically, the hospital room, and find that Ace is still chilling. And along the way, we encountered some more keys. We were able to find new numbered doors, which were 1, 6, and 2, if I remember correctly. And after exploring what was available to us with some of the players, the remaining players searched the number 3 room and found where Snake went. Boom. He went boom. Somehow he found his way into the number 3 room and exploded. The circumstances are unclear. It's been suggested that perhaps people have conspired to take him out for some reason still unknown to us. But with time running out, we decided to head into the next set of numbered doors, and a deadlock tie of the viewers at the time led us to use the handy random number generator I built into the stream in order to... Oh, why is the... Oh, there it is. It's lagging. That's great. I love that everything works perfectly all the time. Thanks, streaming. We used our random number generator to find ourselves going to door number 2. We've already solved one set of escape room puzzles here, but you may have noticed at the very end of last week's stream when we found our way out of the first room, we found ourselves not leading back into the main ship, but in a rather ominous-looking chamber. And we'll pick up there in a moment. That's right, Neko, I don't know if you saw, but that was what I titled last week's episode. We were looking for Snake after all. But yeah, I did add a new sound effect. Also, I added a fun thing for me, which is I've rigged up the Stream Deck to act as a soundboard that doesn't have to run through trigger fire. So the new sound effect, if you're interested, is from a game we played almost exactly 2 years ago today, which was Willie Morgan and the Curse of Bone Town, which had a quote in it that makes me laugh pretty much every single time I think about it, which isn't, it was somewhat effective, but rather...
I don't need a map to get to Bone Town.
And, you know, sometimes it's important to remind people that you don't need a map to get to Bone Town. But yeah, I think that's all the news, as Demolition points out. I did state when adding the swear jar is a feature that's sort of being beta tested right now, and for the moment I'm excluding it from 999 streams, as is my purview as streamer. But we'll continue to try it out and see if it will be a long-term addition to the stream.
Jason!
And now we're going crazy. While we're on that subject, about things that are crazy. Welcome to the room that will be affectionately known as the torture chamber. That's right, if you go through the number 2 door, you first find yourself in the confinement room. I think it's called the confinement room, which is, it looks sort of like either like a brig or really rudimentary crew quarters. I mean, we already had like much nicer crew quarters up at the top of the game. But, yeah, I mean, it was a rough... There wasn't necessarily running water. There were a lot of toilets. But, you know, we solved a weird tile puzzle of just get rid of all the letter E's. And then we opened a door, and I think it led us directly to here. I don't even think there was a hallway between them. And I think I saved, like, right at the first line of dialogue here. So let's see what happens in this delightful-looking room.
Ugh, this room is really creepy.
Yeah, at some point last week, the game sound just, like, gave out for fun. Just sort of stopped caring. Hopefully that doesn't happen again, but at least we now know to keep an eye on it. How's everybody doing today?
Get the hell out of here now.
There's not as much emphasis on the word now as I would expect.
It's locked, isn't it?
I mean, you kind of have to assume at this point, right? I mean, I get trying the door, because, like, if it was unlocked and you did, like, a series of weird puzzles, you'd feel a little silly, but, like, you should assume.
Yep. Don't know why I thought this would be any different.
So, what is this room for, anyway?
No, it's just super good friend times, I think.
Well, there's a chair in the center of the room.
There is that, that's true.
It's uncomfortable to say the least. I'd rather not sit in it if I can avoid it.
It looks like it's placed over some kind of glass panel. Too dark to look through it, though.
This isn't dried blood on the tablecloth, is it?
Look, things happen. It could be someone maybe got a series of bloody noses eating dinner on the tablecloth. That could happen.
Oh, what the hell is this? What are these tools for?
That's not something I even want to think about.
I believe I stated super good friend times or something to that effect. These are probably for that.
No doubt about it. This room's dangerous. Let's make our search quick so we can solve the puzzle and get the hell out of here. Come on.
Ah, good noises. Seek a way out. Ding. Alright, now I have to remember the PC controls for this game that I've mostly only played on the DS or 3DS. I will inevitably open the wrong inventory or something. I appreciate that it puts all these on here, and I'll promptly forget all of them. Don't worry about that. Need that as a sound. That might be isolatable. No, that should be isolatable. Man, I tell you what, like, the more I stream, and I don't think it's just a function of the fact that I've come to collect sound effects from video games, but, like, I get more and more grumpy about games that, like, don't let you control audio good. It's tough, man. It's like the precise reason why the sound clips from 12 minutes are such hot trash. It was incredibly difficult to get those, and they're not clean. Anyway, let's solve some puzzles. I actually don't remember very much of the specifics of this room. I remember the generalities, but not exactly what we're doing. How to look at the screen? There's something on the screen! This device will conduct the experiment. Once the experiment has been completed, the door will unlock. First, adjust the switches to match the blocks in the sample above. Huh? I don't know what this thing is, but we gotta figure out this puzzle. It's right next to a torture chair. Whatever it is, I don't think it's good. Anyway, just adjust the switches to match the blocks up top, right? You adjust the switches shown at the four corners of the screen and press the check button. I think I said screen. Junpei, we don't know what this thing does. You can always come back to it later. There are lots of other things you could do. Castleark says the 12-minute sound clips are better than the game. That's entirely valid, but, like, that's also, like, an incredibly low bar. I vaguely remember this puzzle kind of being similar to the tile puzzle that led into this room, where, like, I feel like I solved it intuitively without necessarily understanding the correct way to do it. Now, if there's, I think there's some other view to this, isn't there? Or am I making that up? Oh, hang on. Did I press it? Oh. Is hint the top screen? Because, like, I'm supposed to be, like, comparing this, right? Every time the switch, more block shows up. I think you gotta figure out which buttons to press to match the dot. Yeah. So, like, even though it says hint, it's, like, literally the puzzle. Okay, just wanted to make sure of that. So, puzzle says, like, I want everything but, like, mostly bottom left stuff. So, I gotta figure out what does bottom left stuff. Not you. So, does order matter, then? I think that's like... Yeah, I mean, it's just like, do 3 of them? The answer's just like, do 3 of them? Perhaps you can see what I mean by, like, it's not, like, so much a puzzle, it's, you just kind of do it. It's a little weird. Okay. Adjustment is completed. Now proceeding to execution phase. To complete experiment, data must be collected from subject. Once preparation is finished, place subject in chair. Whoa, I thought we solved the puzzle already. What does it mean by preparation? I don't know. I've got a bad feeling about this. I think this means one of us gotta sit in the chair. Well, 7's never going to fit in that thing. It's either you or me, Junpei. Collecting data. I wonder if it's going to run electricity through the subject. I mean, I don't think you can rule it out. It's a little bit of an unusual conclusion to jump to, right? Like, that's a pretty specific thing it could do. But I guess it kind of gives, like, electric chair vibes. There's a human head on the screen. Maybe it's gonna zap the brain with a little electricity. This really doesn't sound safe. Anyway, we've still gotta prepare. We can talk about this after we figured out what it means by preparation, alright? Well, it wants us to prepare, so maybe we ought to ask it what we need to do. Okay. Error, disposal tank is closed. Please fill tank with water. What tank? Oh man, don't tell me we gotta do something with a water tank. What, like, a specific gripe to have? Oh man, I don't want to solve any puzzle that has to do with a water tank. Hey Angel, you're not late. You're fashionably on time. How's it going? Look, I've added a new sound effect, and also, I can do these much more easily now.
I don't need a map to get to Bonetown.
I thought it would be suitable to add this because Monday was Tug Like a Pirate Day, and there was definitely no chance that I was going to be able to bonus stream, nor did I really have something lined up that would be appropriate and not conflict with our current schedule. But I figured it was the least I could do to celebrate the obviously important holiday. Probably something around here to open up the water tank or whatever it's asking us to do. Looks like the only controls are in this room. I don't know how you draw that conclusion. I'll just assume that the screen says that and we just aren't allowed to look super closely at it. There's this. These levers have got to turn something on. Of course they would. All they could do is turn something on or off. What's important is what they turn on or off. Don't say the floor is gonna suddenly open up. I mean, I didn't say that. There are a bunch of buttons with the letters A through F on them. Let's push some of them. Down you go. So if I press it again, back you come. Guess these buttons switch something on or off when you push them. There's this thing. I thought there was a hole in here, but I guess it's got a cover over it. You aren't gonna be able to get that off. It's bolted on there pretty good. Hey, Angel. Hold on. I don't have the thing open. But, like... for Nego. Okay. That is the information I saw. Let's see. This is the improved way to do this that still, frankly, sucks and is bad. But, you know... life goes on. And UP at under and then remove. Hooray! Congratulations, Neko. Courtesy of Angel. Thank you, Angel. Glad to have you here. Sorry to hear that you are surviving, but you know, in the non-horror games, survival's like a pretty impressive thing. So like you got that going for you. Maybe there's something around here we can use to get that thing off of there. Can you see anything in there? If you can't see anything, I don't really think we need to bother trying to open it. It's too dark to see anything. Huh? Did I see something shiny in there? Well, I guess we need to bother if there's something shiny in there. These stairs go to the exit. Oh, I can get here. There are a number of ominous-looking tools and instruments here. Let's see, we've got an adze and hammer, a pair of forceps, and these other things are too old and broken. I have no idea what they are. Hey, doesn't this wrench look way too new to be here with the other stuff? Yes, it does. I didn't notice it before you mentioned it, but it's not rusty at all. Got a wrench, bro. This wrench looks brand new. Considering where we found it, I have to wonder how it was used. Knock it off. I don't want to think about that. You've already seen plenty of things that are a lot more cruel than that. You're unexpectedly sensitive. Come on, let's not talk about stuff that doesn't matter, okay? I feel like this is like a pretty good general life philosophy, perhaps. We need to find somewhere we can use this thing. Well, boy, have I got a thing we just looked at for you. I think this'll work. Cover's bolted on pretty good. Should be able to get the bolts off with this wrench we just found, though. Sweet, it's open. The hole's too small. You can't see anything with the cover off. Well, you can't see in, but I think there's enough room to stick your arm in and hope you don't die or lose it or whatever. Are you sure you want to do that? There could be something dangerous in there. Like perhaps a rat or something. Okay, I admit that scares me a little, but we need to see if there's anything useful in there. Alright, here we go. Arm in the hole. Hey, I think I can feel something. It's small, cold, and hard. Doesn't feel like there's anything else in here. Alright, let's see what this thing is. It's the sun key! That's actually really interesting. So far, every time we've gotten, like, a celestial body key of any description, the game goes out of its way to be like, I don't need this right now, I'm gonna put this in my pocket for later. This time, it goes straight into your inventory. A key with the sun symbol on it. We should be able to open the other door with this. Yeah, but we gotta get out of this room before we can do that. We're probably gonna need the sun key to do that. But none of the doors in this room have keyholes. I bet we gotta use it on something that's not a door. I don't know why they make that assumption. Boop. Alright, well, I got that key. Is there anything I need over here? Hey, this pipe is connected to that thing over in the corner. I imagine there are electrical wires running through that pipe to the device. Sun key should fit into the keyhole on these manacles. I think if I check this before getting the sun key, it'll tell me that that will work. Actually, it might not tell you that. I think it might just be the case that you get the key and then it tells you this instead of being like, maybe we need to open this thing or whatever. Well, that's fun, Neko. You got Marshmallow Bunny plushie from a Japanese Lucky Bag, and it was free. That's very exciting. That's a lot of good things. Hooray, I opened the torture device. That's what we wanted, right? That's what we wanted, right? Hey, Katane, welcome to the stream. How's it going? We've just started doing some puzzling. Despite the time that has elapsed, I'm mostly muttering to myself. Alright, Sun Key, in you go, and yes! Great, they're open. I don't think we're gonna need the Sun Key again in here, though. Just seems unlikely. I don't know. Maybe it feels a little bit arbitrary, but I'm just gonna say that was the one and only thing we needed it for, and now it's like a plot item for later, and we're just gonna clear the old inventory. Alright, Sun Key, you've done your job. Into my pocket with you. I like to imagine that because of the way they treat Junpei's pocket, that it's like truly like a pocket dimension separate from all other like continuous time space as we understand it. And that's why there's like a ritual to putting stuff in there. Because it's just like gone. Alright, we did that, and I still like... Does this give me any more information about the water tank things? Just fill the tank with water. Need to find controls for the tank. Alright, I'm gonna go mess with that panel, I think, because there's not actually that many things to look at right now. I thought I had to do something to the panel before I could do something with the panel, if you know what I mean. Red, yellow... You think the colors mean something? No idea. I mean, red looks more dangerous, but other than that... Bottom of this one looks like it's covered in rust. I don't think it'll move at all. Does yellow move? I see some oil or something down there at the base of this lever. Yeah, it feels like it's got some movement to it. I should be able to pull this one. Alright, let's pull the lever. Is that water? Oh no, I'm afraid of getting wet or something. What's going on? Will you calm down? It's just water going somewhere. It sounds like it's underneath us. That means the floor? Oh. Junpei, look. What's she... Oh. Oh, I can see through the glass now. It green. Edbuff. Unless that... What's the name of the German letter that's like... S's? Oh, also, like... There are a couple letters in the color of blood written on the shark's belly. God, I sure feel like that description buries the lead on what we're looking at all of a sudden. Reinständige? No, I think that's something else. I think that's German for like a very clever thing that's not stupid at all, perhaps. Yeah. Is dead. Looks like the letters E, D, B, and F. Whatever these are for has to be in the room somewhere. Sorry, I had some brain lag. Don't worry about it. Head buff. Can I take this? I don't think there's anything else here we need. Well, I need something. Where to finding the thing that I need? I mean, I got EDBF. What? There's a strange noise coming from the chair. It looks like it's been turned on. I guess the puzzle here was that the power had to be set in a specific way. Well, I guess I might as well try it. Let's give red lever a shot. Nope, no dice. This thing isn't going anywhere. Oh, give me that. You just ain't man enough. Sure, pal, give it a shot. I don't care. Hey, you're going to break it. Man, that thing ain't going anywhere. I need, like, a rag, and I think that's an item in this room. And even though, like, tablecloth is sort of a rag, I cannot have it. I, like, literally don't have an inventory right now. So I'm missing some sort of thing. There's nothing else in here, right? Oh, I accidentally did this. I don't know why I keep clicking this. Okay. So what's the panel telling me now? Restraining device is unlocked. Please seat subject and device.
It's not going to work unless someone sits in it.
How ironic that this would be the situation in which this slim, beautiful body is useful.
I mean, I'm not, like, society is arranged in such a way that I'm not sure that this is the only situation that applies to. Although, for the purposes of this deadly game scenario, that's fair enough. Oh, your tooth broke on that same day you got the bunny plushie? I'm sorry, Neko. I did see on the Discord that you mentioned that. I'm sorry that happened. I would be very upset about that, and I don't know a thing to say that helps other than I'm sorry, and I hope that you find a good solution.
Lotus, are you sure? I can sit in it and you can solve.
Junpei's right. If we screw it up...
It's fine. Junpei's the protagonist and whatever.
I'll be fine. Even if I fall in, the shark is already dead.
Man, we're pretty cavalier about this whole shark situation. I'm not denying that is a dead shark. It is an ex-shark. But like, we don't know anything about this place. If you fall down there, maybe there's like other live sharks or something.
But
no one likes an indecisive man, Junpei. I can still give you advice from the chair too, you know. I just don't want to stay in this room any longer than we have to. Go over to that screen and let's get this over with. Look, do you think you could do me one last favor?
don't say last.
You're making me nervous.
Just listen. If something happens to me, I want you to tell my daughters. Tell them that I loved them very much. No, tell them that I will always love them.
Daughters?
You've got kids?
Yes, I do. I suppose they're about your age, Junpei.
Uh-oh, is one of them Akane? That would be awkward. Is that true, Neko? Dental care isn't free in the UK? That makes a lot of sense, I guess. I didn't know that. So, like, does that mean that you're not able to find someone who isn't an evil one-star review dentist? I imagine it gets more expensive if it's not covered by universal health care. These problems exist in the United States frequently.
They're twins. I had them when I was young after... well, some things happened. Their names are Nona and...
Wait, Nona?
Nona?
Light and Nona. Those were their names. Well, some of them. The kids that were in the experiment.
What the hell? What's wrong with you?
It is a weird reaction to have to someone just saying a name. Just like a person's name.
Oh, no way. It couldn't. Lotus, is your last name Kashiwabara?
I mean, obviously this game is made in Japan, but like, that again just feels very specific.
How do you know that?
Are you serious? What the hell is this? There's no way you're that kid's mom.
That kid? Wait, what do you mean that kid? Why are you acting like you've met her?
I have.
What?
Yeah, I met one of your kids.
When?
9 years ago.
Where?
On this ship.
Why were you...
It's not a short story.
It's not a short story, and I don't remember most of the important
Look,
parts.
I don't care how long it is.
Oh. Dang it. Is that me or the game? I think it's the game. I think I have to reset the game. I think I just, like, bumped my headphones, and I think that may have, like, screwed up the audio. It was super good. I'm glad that this is a feature. This is not a thing I've heard about the Nonary games. No, well, I'm a separate audio channel. You do not hear sound effects or music, correct? I don't see it registering on OBS. I think I need to restart it. Yeah, okay. It just sort of suddenly died. And I'm not sure if that was me or the software, but the software has given us issue before. So we're just gonna compensate. Okay. Picking that up. My headphones are only half working, which is great. I love headphones. So good. You know, I have to say, I'm not a big fan of wireless headphones of any description. I do wish that we would work on improving wired headphone technology to be a little more reliable than I've found it to be in recent years, rather than expensive, easy-to-lose technology that doesn't really benefit consumers significantly. But that's me. That's my opinion. Okay, now I need you to register. Great. And now I need to... This should be... No. Yes? No? I think I need 3. I think I need save file 3. Still registering as 2?
I have.
What?
Yeah, I met one of your kids.
When?
9 years ago.
Where?
On this ship.
It's weird. It backed up like a little bit. I don't know what that means specifically.
Why were you...
It's not a short story.
Look, I don't care how long it is. Tell me, please, what happened here?
Do you remember like seconds ago when we were in a real hurry to get out of this room? Well, we sure aren't now.
Fine, I'll tell you. But...
I'm Butt. I am Butt.
And then... that was when... From there, it looked like... just as if, finally... That's all I remember from 9 years ago.
It's implied that he told the, like, third of a story or whatever he told us earlier.
Oh my god. Everything I've been looking for. For the last 9 years, the person who had all the answers was right here.
Yeah, it's pretty weird, right? That's quite convenient, but like also not really convenient at
Looking
all.
for?
Yes, that's right. 9 years ago, my daughters disappeared. Then 9 days later, they came back.
Well, if you love them, set them free or something, yeah?
They told me what happened to them over those 9 days.
That seems like a weird oversight. Like, what a weird conspiracy. I get that, like, twins will occasionally trade places and do schemy things like that, but, like, if they were kidnapped and put on a torture boat, I don't know why you wouldn't relay some of that information to good old parent guardians.
I took them to the doctor, but I was told they hadn't been hurt in any way. Still, I was sure that they had been through something terrible. So I couldn't bring myself to force them to talk about it. If I did, then I'd force them to relive whatever horrors they'd been through. I didn't have any choice. I had to try and ignore it and move on.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that worked, huh?
A few months passed. Gradually, they started to act like they always had, before they disappeared. They smiled and made jokes and did all the silly things kids do.
They are surprisingly resilient,
It got harder
considering.
and harder for me to ask them about what happened. How could I ask them to remember that? Eventually, I knew there was no way I could do it. But I'm still a mother. I couldn't simply forget that something terrible had happened to my children. So I decided I would investigate what happened on my own. I would find out what happened during those 9 missing days.
What did you find out?
I'm gonna guess not a lot.
The
Yeah.
police pretended to be concerned, but they didn't do anything. Once the 16 children who'd gone missing came back, even the media didn't talk about what had happened. I figured someone was probably paying or threatening them to keep their mouths shut.
Cradle Pharmaceuticals. No, probably something even bigger than that.
Cradle Pharmaceuticals.
Have you heard of them before?
No. It's the first time I've ever heard that name. 7. How did you find out that Cradle Pharmaceuticals was connected to the kidnappings in the first place?
I figured finding out whatever the victims had in common would lead me to the culprit. That's what any good cop does.
What did they have in common?
Every single one of the kids who disappeared had gone to this one hospital at some point. The hospital was one of a bunch that were under the control of Cradle Pharmaceuticals. After that, it was just about connecting the dots.
The hospital.
The hospital.
The
For a
hospital.
while, I was trying to get some kind of information out of the kids at the hospital.
The hospital.
One of them told a weird story.
About the
What
hospital?
was it?
Have you heard about the Gansfeld experiment?
Here we go, everyone. It's that time again. Uchikoshi's having
I
fun.
guess all these kids had to go through it while they were at the hospital. I think it was passed off as some sort of counseling.
What did you call it again?
Oh,
Picture an egg.
the Gansfeld experiment.
That's right. Picture an egg. Think really hard about it. It has like a shell and like multiple layers to it. It's a really helpful metaphorical tool for understanding every concept.
This is how it's set up. First, subjects Q and A are put into separate rooms, far away from one another. Then a series of video images are shown to subject Q, who is told to send the images to subject A by thinking about them.
In essence, they picture an egg.
Subject A, on the other hand, is put in a large reclining chair and given a blindfold.
Perhaps an
With
egg.
senses cut off, A is asked to guess what images Q is looking at.
Oh, yes, I've heard of that. It's a famous telepathy experiment, isn't it?
Telepathy.
I mean, it's not much of an experiment, right? It's literally like, you think real hard about something, and then you see if you can guess what they're thinking about. I mean, you could apply that under any circumstances. Perhaps the specific parameters described here make it more likely, at least in theory, that it works. But, like, you could do this at literally any point.
That's how the experiment on this ship was supposed to work.
Yeah, picture the egg as hard as you can.
The experiment to control people, right?
Yeah. I don't know if any of the telepathy stuff really exists, but maybe someone from Cradle Pharmaceuticals bought into it.
Even if that is the case, I still don't get how that has anything to do with any of this. The notary game, 0. Why we were kidnapped. What does any of that have to do with telepathy? I know I brought all this up, but I have no idea.
This is a thing I appreciate. I feel like this happens more in the Zeroscape era Uchikoshi games than it does in the Somnium Files era. Like, I feel like in Somnium Files, it's much more likely that someone will, like, bring up something that's absolutely bananas that isn't connected to anything just because Uchikoshi wants to talk about it. But, like, here, there's sort of, like, a context for it, and the characters are sort of like, I mean, I don't know if any of that's real. I don't know if it is actually connected to what we're doing here, or if it's important that it happened. It's just maybe true. And so, like, I'm not an expert, you know? Like, I'm not telling you about Nizet laws or nothing.
Maybe none of this stuff is connected after all.
I like him making a guttural noise at his own statement. Maybe this means nothing. Did you just, your own statement, Seven?
No subject has been detected. Unless a subject is detected within 60 seconds, all power will be shut down.
Man, what a highly specific
System
experiment.
recovery is estimated to take 1 hour. If you wish to proceed with the experiment, please seat subject in the restraining device.
Whoopsie.
Whoa, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going.
Oh, no, that's not what we...
Just hurry up and get it over with. Junpei, I'm counting on you.
Right.
But not you, Seven. I think you suck and you
Lotus,
smell.
please, tell me right away if you feel anything weird.
I mean, aren't we pretty much constantly feeling something weird under these
Don't
circumstances?
worry too much. Now get on with it and be a man, or June's gonna leave you.
What a super helpful and normal viewpoint. Thank you, Lotus.
Okay, let's do this.
Ready already? So now I just have to adjust the side for now. So on this side I need... Mostly have what I need on this side. I need something to make these guys pointy. And then if I... Weird implement... This is a puzzle that feels a lot clearer on the DS when you can see both screens at the same time. So the puzzle essentially works like this, Neko, the system wants a certain set of parameters, so we have to match whatever shapes are in its... In the DS version, one screen shows what it should look like, and then one screen shows how you currently have it configured. But, like, because you're toggling between them on the same screen, it makes a lot less sense. But, like, yeah, we're basically trying to get this... So, do I want this? That looks right. This hasn't changed. Something's off here. Not that. I at least have one end to end off. Now, so far I've managed to get both individual sides correct without having both of them right at the same time. That's helpful, I guess. Still a little off. That is correct. This is not. I don't like that I can't click directly on the thing I want, it just toggles them. It makes this more confusing than it already is. might do it. Didn't change anything on that side. Looks like that's correct now. They both seem to be correct now. Okay, we did it. The experiment has concluded. The door will now unlock. I can hear the door unlocking. So, the experiment was to learn what shape of blocks Lotus has in her head instead of a brain. And it turns out the answer is mostly pointy. Was that helpful? I can hear the door unlocking. And now we've got a new message. Release subject from restraining device. Lotus, are you alright? Yes, I am. I'm glad nothing bad happened, but I do think my life just got a little shorter. Hold on, I'll get you out right away. Shouldn't take long for Seven and me to get her out of here. It's implied that we got out of there. Being a guinea pig is not for me. I don't ever want to see this thing again. Well, hopefully we don't have to see it again then. You found it! Elevator noise.
The hallway goes to the left.
This is a thing that, like, in real life would be, like, a really casual, offhand observation. But, like, without the context of where people are looking and what we're doing, it just doesn't seem super helpful to say this. Neko observes there was a surprising lack of torture in the torture room. I mean, we had to listen to the flashback again. Some people might consider that torturous. But it's an interesting point. I mean, considering that we had, like, a dead shark and, like, an electric chair, like, that definitely could have gone a lot worse than it did go.
But I don't see any doors.
Yes, we just need to keep going.
Right. Let's go.
We're not quickly walking, we're slowly walking?
Just what we need. Let's take this to C deck.
Ah, an elevator, just what I need.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I know where we need to go. The door behind the central staircase. There was a sun symbol on the keyhole of that door.
Now we're quickly walking, just FYI. You can take a sip of your apple
I happen
juice.
to have the sun key in my pocket right now. This should open that door.
My bottomless pocket only for literal key items.
Let's go!
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna open this door.
Why?
Okay. Well, it turns out, Neko, that there maybe wasn't as much torture as we expected in the torture chamber, but while we were in the torture chamber, like, something definitely happened out here. They walking or riding a horse. I think Seven might be a centaur. I think that might explain some of his girth. Yeah, please press F to pay respect for several of the 9 persons. Something has happened. Yeah, you on your left you will observe Clover, Santa, and Ace all here on the stairs. Not in great shape. Why seems like an excellent first question. It's a very well timed no.
What the hell? What the hell happened? Clover. Nothing. She's dead.
I'm a police detective, not a doctor, Jim.
Hey, what are you doing?
The key! Get me the sun key!
Why?
Why do you think we have to get out of here before the murderer comes back?
The murderer?
Santa.
Again, I think we're being really quick to rule out natural causes here. I mean, it's very easy to slip and fall on the stairs if you're, like, running at full speed to make the running noise that Uchikoshi really likes so much. Like, this could have been an accident. Like, a very precise accident with, like, just, like, an awful lot of blood, frankly. But, I mean, last time we dropped a can of ragu on a stick of dynamite. Like, something similar could have happened here.
Clover. And Ace. 3 people. 3 dead bodies.
That would have been... This 3 people, 3 dead bodies probably would have been a much more interesting final installment to this series than Zero Time Dilemma, in my opinion.
That means that the person who had killed them was...
Right, Nico? Like, these people just could have, like, fallen asleep in, like, a puddle of jam. Like, it could have been that, like, they found some jam in whatever room they went into, and they were really excited about it. But, you know, like, once they solved the puzzle, all the, like, adrenaline wore off, and then they sort of slipped and dropped the jam, and then they're like, oh no, my jam! Yeah, it's not a bad way to go, right, Castle Art?
No. No, it can't be true.
Give it to me! Let's go!
Okay, bye!
Open! Why?
What happened?
Nothing. Nothing happened. I didn't feel it unlock.
Oh no. Is it the wrong key?
I don't know. Maybe. It's open.
What the hell is this?
Wait, you mean the door was already unlocked?
I feel like we should have checked that. I mean, we checked the escape door to our locked escape room. I feel like we should have checked this, perhaps.
How would I know that? Whatever, let's just go.
What do you think we're gonna find on the other side of the sun door? I mean, we still haven't found the number 9 door, that's for sure.
What the hell is this door?
Just a good question. It looks like it could be like a playmat for some sort of really complicated card game.
I can't see anything that looks like a doorknob or switch or lever or card reader or anything.
Or this could also sort of be like the, you know, the inside of like a board game box, especially for like a classic like German style board game. Has like a lot of like weird subdividers to store like, you know, folded up bits of the board or like a deck of cards or game pieces, that kind of stuff.
How the fuck are we supposed to open this?
Language, Junpei. I don't know that the situation calls for such language.
We don't have a choice. We're gonna have to go back.
No, I'm not going back there. There is a murderer back there.
There's just like a bunch of jam. Like, you guys are overreacting.
But I don't see any other doors.
Oh, see, look, it's fine. Now we can play like Twilight Imperium or whatever. Wait, how much of those 9 hours do we have? We probably can't play Twilight Imperium.
It opened by itself.
It's an automatic door?
Look, guys, I've got a really bad feeling about all this.
No, look, it's an automatic door. It's probably just like a grocery store, right? We're gonna go through the door, and then there's gonna be like fresh produce and like a bakery. Like, it's
The
fine.
other doors were already unlocked, and this one's automatic. We haven't seen anything like this before.
Bad feeling. We've hit bottom. This can't get any worse.
That may well be true.
Shit!
Hey, Junpei!
I can't take this anymore. No one can.
Noises!
No. It's a lie. It's gotta be. This can't be real. No. It's impossible. If it's a dream, just wake up already. Someone please tell me it's all just a joke. I'm imagining things. Yep, that's it. This is all obviously a lie. It's a big, elaborate trick. An illusion or something. Or a dream. It's made up.
Connie!
Oh, well, I mean, how much jam do you think that we had on the ship to begin with? So, like a moment ago, we were pretty upset about the fact that we suspected Akane was the murderer, but she's, here, taking a jam nap, taking the long jam nap.
Connie, hang on.
Hey, she's not dead. That's good news.
Connie.
Jumpy?
Oh, man. Connie, there's so much blood. What the hell happened to you? How did this happen?
Jumpy, I'm sorry. I might not make it.
Believe it or not, I was using some of this blood for something.
No way. No way I am going to let you die. I am going to save you. I promise.
Thank you, Jumpy. Thank you so much for everything. I was really happy.
I mean, like, could you clarify? Like, at what point? Because, like, we haven't seen you for years, and then, to be honest, we've been having kind of a bad 9 hours.
To see you again, Jumpy.
Okay, I mean, that's very optimistic.
Really happy.
Like, definitely a little bit too happy to see you. Also, there's a banana in my pocket.
Don't give me that I was crap. You're gonna see me again lots more times.
Sure, just, you know, like, at the top of, like, a really big staircase, maybe.
You just gotta hang on, alright, Connie? You... Ow, what can I do?
Apply pressure. That'll stop it.
Damn it! What's that?
That's a really good question, actually. We hadn't stopped to address this weird room that we found, but there's something weird here.
Submarine? What on earth is a submarine doing here?
Well, you know, I mean, originally the Titanic had a submarine for deep ocean exploration. Definitely for real historical fact.
That's it! Hang on, alright? There's a submarine over there. I'm gonna go see if it works.
This feels like an insane thing to say. I mean, I'll set aside the fact that prognosis here for this jam nap isn't looking great. But like, you really know how to operate a submarine? Like high school age Junpei?
No, don't go. Please, don't go. Please, just stay with me, okay? I want to be close to you, Jumpy. When I...
Oof. Right in the feels.
Jumpy, did you know?
Oh my god, please dive directly into like a weird conspiracy theory right now. Just take a big ol' info dump right here in the middle of this submarine chamber.
You meant a lot to me when we were kids.
Nope, you've harmed my feelings again.
I liked you for a long time, Junpei. A really long time.
Even longer than 9 hours. Which you'll note is like a pretty long time.
Jumpy, do you remember how we hung out a lot when we were kids? We went to the pool and to the fair. Do you remember playing snowball at the school? They're all memories I'll never forget.
Wait a minute, is this all a sequel to Wintermore Tactics Club? Playing snowball at the school? Were Akane and Junpei at the Wintermore Academy? Mind blown.
All of those moments are treasures to me.
I'm pretty sure I'm the only person who's ever played that game, by the way. Just like literally in the history of time.
I also wanted to go to a lot of other places with you. A lot more. But that won't happen now.
No. I mean, yes. Yes, it will happen. We'll go all sorts of places, Connie.
And then he produces a copy of Oh, the Places We Will Go by Dr. Seuss and reads it to her like a bedtime story.
You hear me? I promise. We'll go wherever you want.
Really?
Even Pittsburgh?
Yeah, really. I swear.
That makes me happy. Really happy.
It's interesting that neither Lotus nor Seven has said anything in several minutes.
I feel sleepy.
This is the sugar crush that Neko was talking about. This is what happens when you have too much jam by yourself.
No, Connie, don't fall asleep.
Thank you, Jumpy. Thank you so much.
Connie.
Oh,
Connie.
darn.
Oh, Ditto, that was very well timed. Welcome to the stream, or happy lurking. Hope you're doing well. That was well played.
Connie!
And I thought they were gonna show it like disconnecting, because when your heart rate hits 0, your bracelet frees up. Got here a minute ago and saw your moment. I really respect and appreciate that, Ditto. I hope you also appreciate the new addition to the soundboard.
I don't need a map to get to Bonetown.
It's not appropriate here at all, but that's not gonna stop me. Time passed. What an unhelpful descriptor. And one of my favorite, like, pseudo mechanics in the Phantom Trick game. Time is passing. Junpei wept, curled around Connie's body. He cried and cried until he had no tears left, and consumed some of the jam to build up the electrolytes necessary to cry some more. When the last tear fell, Junpei turned back into the beast or whatever. His body remained, but he was only an empty shell. Somewhere he heard a bell ring. It was the clock at the central staircase. Hey, we still have an hour left. It rang 5 times, then faded. Quietly, gently, softly, he set Connie down on the floor. Slowly, Junpei stood. Only then did he realize that Seven and Lotus had not followed him. Many minutes ago. Or like an hour or whatever. Where had they gone? Slowly he looked around the room. Still wasn't sure about that submarine. There was nothing. No sign that they had ever been there. It felt as though every part of Junpei's body was made of lead. Slowly he made his way to the door he'd come through. It was better than tungsten, right? As he approached it, it opened, sliding apart with a sound like a grinding stone. Junpei passed through the gate and into the hallway. Well, shoot. That's not good news. So now we have sort of a math problem here. So, when we entered door number 2...
Darn.
Darn indeed. When we entered the number 2 door, there were effectively 7 people still in play. The number 9 man had exploded, and then we located Snake on the other side of the number 3 door later, right? So we were down to 7 players. 3 of us went into the number 2 door, solved those puzzles, had a little flashback to Seven's past, came back outside. We found Ace, Santa, and Clover dead on the staircase. We followed that hallway into what appears to be a submarine launching bay and found Akane jamming out there. And then we turn around and we see that Seven and Lotus didn't follow us because they also were enjoying some delicious jam. So the issue appears to be this. Number 5, that's us. We seem to be doing alright for the moment. But number 9, Ace, Clover, Santa, we got June, Akane, and then we have 7 and Lotus. So like who did it? Who did it? His heart rattled in his chest, an empty, lifeless thing. It had been so utterly broken that there was nothing left to feel. When he saw their bodies, he simply stared. It was a lake, a sea of blood. 2 bodies lay in it. There was no need to check. There was no breath left in either of them. His eyes lit on Lotus's wrist. Her bracelet, it was gone. He stared. It meant nothing to him. He didn't care anymore. He couldn't care anymore. Junpei's body felt numb. A part of him knew the lump of lead in his chest had once been a heart. Couldn't quite remember what it had been for. Tears poured from his eyes in great streams, though he wasn't sure why. He gave up trying to make them stop. He turned around. The door opened again. Slowly, numbly, he walked through. He kept walking. Why stop? An object set in motion, simple inertia carried him forward. Eventually, he found himself in front of the submarine. His arm reached for the hatch. Jam. And then he was floating in the water. His eyes stared down into it. He couldn't see the bottom. His back was hot. Dimly, he felt the blade of a knife in it. Who? One dead body lay behind door number 5. The body of the 9th man. Another lay in the shower room. The body of Snake. At the central staircase were 3 more. Ace, Santa, and Clover. Just outside the door were 2 corpses. Seven and Lotus. In this very room lay the body that had once been Connie. And now Junpei would join them. Who, then, had killed them all? Who? Junpei let out one last breath. Faintly, he felt the bubbles creep up on the side of his face. His consciousness faded quickly, dissolving away into the cold, gentle lapping of the water. And see. That's our first ending, everyone. How'd you like that ending? Yeah, GG, new game, guys. Here's what I really like about... I think this is a pretty indicative ending of what 999 offers. It's somewhat effective. That's a good summary. This is unskippable, huh? Is that true? That's interesting.
Oh my gosh.
This is a choice. I'll give it a minute. So here's something I really like, right? No, I have to kind of leave that up if it's gonna process, huh? Everything really came together in the end. So, what I like about this is, like, if you compare this to, like, the various endings that branch from, like, World's End Club or Somnium Files, which are also Uchikoshi games. Typically, in the end of those, you find out, like, one fact of relative importance, and sometimes it's very thinly veiled what that thing is. And then, like, maybe one character dies, or maybe none characters die, and the game just sort of ends. It just says, like, this is an ending to the game. Like, a really good example of, like, when this doesn't work is in Nirvana Initiative. One of the earliest ones that you seem to be able to get is when you reconcile, like, a father and son. Oh, hang on. The end! Or is it? I don't think it said that originally. I might be wrong. That might be new. We all die by a yellow submarine. That's a good achievement. You have reached one ending. This game has multiple endings. In order to experience all the endings, you need to play through the game multiple times. Make sure to save your progress now to retain all information you've required. Memory of Escape has been added to the title screen. Memory of Escape enables you to replay the escape rooms you have completed. Would you like to save the info you obtained during this playthrough? After saving, the game will restart from the beginning. Please save a slot. What's my... Save it on 3. There should be data on 3, but there isn't for some reason. Okay, so we're gonna have to talk about a few things here. But I want to finish making my point, so I'll be Big Vasco. Hi, it's me, Big Vasco. So, yeah, there's an ending close to the beginning of Nirvana Initiative where you reconcile, like, a father and son who aren't getting along. And it's, like, perceived as a happy ending. But it's not, like, a social game about helping your friends out. It is a murder mystery. And to achieve that ending, like, it's presumed that you let the killer just sort of go and that you never solve the mystery. It's not really an ending to the story by any reasonable description. It's not very effective as an ending as a result. Here, it's very clear why the game has ended. We got murdered. And we got some interesting information here, and we have ourselves like a pretty big mystery. Everyone's dead. Who the crap did it? And there are some really significant clues available in this ending to help indicate who did it, but they're subtle. The first time I watched someone play this game, because that was my first experience with 999, I just couldn't stop thinking about the game. The first ending caught me so far off guard because of how high the stakes were, and it just wasn't what I was expecting or what I was used to from a visual novel game. And so I just kept thinking about all the little details that stood out. And I was actually able to guess what happened in that ending, and it was a really satisfying experience. This is a stark contrast to some of the more recent Uchikoshi games where everything feels made up at the last minute and the points don't matter. So I know I keep making comparisons to those games, but we have been playing them recently. They are sort of the most recent examples of his work, and I've complained about them, and I just want to put into perspective, I love 999. I think it's an incredible game, and it does things with visual novels as a medium that, I still haven't really seen other people do, and I also, frankly, haven't seen Uchikoshi do again, which is interesting. But another thing that we have to touch on is this. We find ourselves here, the submarine. Now, I've said before that originally this game was on the DS. It didn't have voice acting. Another thing it didn't have was a flowchart. So this is entirely new. Originally, in the first version of 999, when you reached an ending like that, it would literally start you over from the beginning of the game. It had a skip button. You would hold it down and it would stop when you reached new dialogue, or I think it also stopped when you reached one of the major choices, choosing a particular numbered door to go into, that type of thing. But yeah, so as a result of the original version not having a flowchart, you really didn't know what you were going for or what you were going to change. You would just be caught off guard by the ending sometimes. There wasn't any indication, up until the point that we found 3 people dead on the staircase, that anything was going to happen differently than we would just find the number 9 door and leave. Well, we sure didn't do that. But now we find ourselves facing a question. We can go back to the beginning and choose a different door there. We can go through the number 4 door in the main chamber. We can choose a different door from the hospital room. Or we could simply go back to the last major branching point and choose a different door there. I don't necessarily know the best way to get that consensus. I suspect that we will need to run a poll. New poll. Where to begin again? Beginning. Middle. Best. Give that 2 minutes, sure. That's fine. So, let me know what you think, chat. And also, let me know what you think. I know most of the people here right now not terribly familiar with the game. Do you have any thoughts about all of that jam? Were you expecting any part of that ending at any point before it happened? Neko says, I wonder how many people would have just stopped there and thought the story was complete without that message. It's an interesting question. I'm certain that the prompts that say, this game has multiple endings to get them, play through again, that was in the original. I don't remember that, end card after the credits saying, the end or is it or whatever. That might be new. That might have been there. be honest, I have a clearer recollection of those like post-credits images from the latter games. It might just be because I've played them more recently. Let's see how that poll's doing. Looks like beginning is winning. I mean, it's just fascinating to me the way that it's tough gauging how much to say about things. I don't want to spoil things for those of you who aren't familiar with the story. Obviously, you can't spoil me on the story. You might remind me of something I've forgotten, but you can't really spoil me on it. Because for once, I've actually played this game. It says, I've not caught up on the VODs yet, so I have no idea what's going on. So that seemed pretty reasonable. That's fair, ditto. I mean, that's like a pretty like normal thing to have happen, I think. I do love how casual Junpei is about the discovery of the submarine and its operation. Alright, so it looks like we will be beginning from the beginning. Now, I haven't actually ever operated a flowchart for this game. I assume that if I go to this point... I mean, there's not really much point in us going all the way back to the beginning. Because... Okay, well, I was trying to back out of my choice to go to that thing, and then by hitting back, it restarted the entire game. So, you know, just like hashtag remastered things. Can I just, Oh, I think, down here... Ow! I think this represents the toggle that we had at a certain point.
Damn it! What the hell?
Give me the flowchart back. The point I was going to make is, by trying to go back a page, which is apparently simply impossible if you click something, you're committed to it. If we go back to the very beginning, you just escape that first room and get introduced to all the characters and the rules of the non-array game. So I think the thing to do is to just, like, go to our first choice. I only had to click it 12 times.
I thought we were finished with that topic.
There's some rough edges to the new implementation of the flowchart. I'll give you that. I've never played this version before. It's not what I would call seamless, but it does serve the function of you not having to do the entire thing from scratch every time. One thing I can't actually quite remember off the top of my head is whether the original version of 999... I think it's possible that once you completed a puzzle room, you were still able to skip that, because your save file does retain knowledge of rooms you've completed. I think... I mean, obviously the flowchart version remembers that because it just saves where you've been. But I think the original had some capacity to remember that as well, and you might have been able to skip those rooms. It's been a few years since I've played it, so I don't recall off the top of my head.
But then what should we do?
We should talk it through.
Oh my god, enough! All we're doing is talking! Talking won't solve anything! It can't help us find our way out of here! You really sure you want to just sit around?
So the thing I don't immediately recall is whether this conversation is happening before or after the incident with the ninth man.
Only got 7.5 hours left. We already wasted an hour and a half of our 9 hours.
Don't worry, Santa. We'll waste plenty more.
You're right.
Very well then. There's only one way for us to proceed.
Sure not gonna be fun running around knowing we gotta jump when Zero says jump.
Well, it's stupid to just sit around here doing nothing.
Well, thanks to Snake's card, at least we have some idea of how this all works.
Correct. And so long as we all follow the rules, we we will most likely be all right.
Hey, look, everyone, it's Snake!
But
What?
who's going to go in which door?
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and...
Then it would...
Do we have...
Wait, I'm telling you now.
Come on now. Don't be selfish.
Call me whatever the hell.
What's interesting is I don't think that there's necessarily an analog for the skip until new dialogue option in this version. It may exist and I just don't know what the control is.
Don't worry. We may
I think the game went out of its way to tell you that it was like...
There's nothing...
It's literally something like hold down right D-pad. It's like not intuitive, but the game definitely tells you what it is.
Wait, what about the other?
In the original. So here's the question. I'm just gonna let this run. This doesn't matter.
It's 4. Add up.
Then we
I'm assuming that
Yeah,
because
so the
people wanted to go back to the start of the
7,
game, we want to
Snake,
choose the
Clover,
other
and
door.
Ace. They
However,
would
it
go through
is an entirely valid
Lotus,
option to
Santa,
choose
June,
door
and me.
5 again.
Are these really the teams I want? Beyond door 5.
You never know, Neko. Maybe Snake will live this time. Events will change if we do things differently. Presumably. Otherwise, we just keep dying at the
I
submarine.
want to see that thing again, but something's telling me that it'd be a good idea to examine the corpse, even just a little closer. Of course, if I went through door 5, I wouldn't be going with Lotus and Santa. I could bring June with me through door 5. Should I stay silent and go through door 4? Or should I stop them and insist on door 5?
Letting that run a little bit since the background on the choice is relevant. So if we go through door 4, we get to go with June, which is cool because we like June. But if we go through door 5, you know, that happens. Did Snake become not so solid? That's a surprisingly apt assessment of what happened for someone who hasn't caught up on the VODs, Ditto. I would definitely say that Snake became not entirely solid. So I'll run a 50% shorter poll. Just to confirm that we're going through door 4, which seems like the natural reason to be here. But I'm gonna run it back, because I just want to be sure. Your choices do matter, chat. I encourage you to vote. I see not everyone voting. I see you. And you don't have to, but I'm very deliberately trying to let chat choose its own adventure here. At this point, I only know of immediately one option that I would veto, and we're not close to making it. And when and if we reach that point, I will explain why I will not allow that choice. Which door is the new one? We haven't done 4, we did 5 last time. Okay, door 4 it is. Great.
All right then. It seems we've reached a conclusion. Shall we go? I'm going through door 5.
We're over there too, right, Snake?
The door's not going anywhere. Slow down.
Which door?
Which door? I decided door 4 would be fine. It's fine. It'll be fine.
I'll go through door 4 with Lotus, Santa, and June.
Miko says she doesn't remember Ace at all. I don't know exactly what you mean by that. He did spend a stint of the game unconscious on a hospital bed because he took some sketchy drugs he found on a mystery death boat. He also has spent a lot of time not being in our group solving puzzles.
There's nothing to worry about. I just need to stay by her side. This should be fine. It's no problem this way. I should see the other 4 off.
Looks like Ace and the others are going.
I like that in this version we don't actually really voice our assent. We don't, like, confirm. We're not like, yeah, let's go in door 4. We're just sort of like, oh, I'm not gonna say anything.
Be careful.
Okay, have fun with that pile of gore that used to be the 9th man.
So horrible.
Have fun.
What are
It's
you
a decent
doing?
moment to be
We
Snake.
need to hurry.
You still smell that, though, right?
Your shoes.
It's fine. Hurry! Or are you planning on dying with everyone else? I assume you haven't forgotten the door only remains open for 9 seconds, have you?
He says as 9 seconds elapse and he's trapped inside alone.
Sorry, Snake.
Let's go.
Okay, I love you. Bye-bye.
Hey! How is it over there? Did you find anything? At least say something, will you?
Something's beeping.
You know what's beeping. We've already been through this at this point. They initialized the red, now they gotta deactivate with the dead, or else they go kaboom.
It's just like before.
Probably the sound of the detonator on the bracelet.
Do you think they're okay?
Maybe they're playing Space Invaders on their bracelets. Do those have those?
Hey, there it is! That's gotta be that dead thing! Come on, get over here! We gotta authenticate!
The beeping stopped.
Looks like it stopped.
Hey, guys! Are you doing alright over there?
Yes, we're fine. Oh, hey, I'm gonna tell you about this whole dead thing, okay?
It's so muffled. It's appropriate for it to be muffled, but it's really funny to try and have like a prolonged conversation like this. Hey, I'm gonna tell you some really important information so you don't die, okay?
The dead is just like the red, but the color's different. You know how the red was red?
Uh-huh.
The dead is blue.
Oh.
That, it's just like the red. Authenticating is the same too.
Awesome! Thanks. That helps a lot.
Well, we should probably move on now. You be careful out there.
Roger that.
Who's Roger?
Whew. Now it's our turn.
Was Roger the 9th man who exploded?
I'll go first.
Yeah, the red was red the whole time, Neko.
Okay, we ready?
This time it's 4 of us instead of 3. I think we managed to only go in groups of 3 on the last run.
Sure.
Let's go.
All right, let's go. Run!
Everyone running together. Take a sip of your apple juice.
It's counting down.
I like that it's not counting down an actual number, by which I mean, like, that's terrifying and upsetting.
We need to hurry and find the device.
Hey, pro tip, you don't want to go back? If you could go back, you would 100% die. Because you would have activated the red and would no longer be able to access the dead to not die. If you could go back, you would die.
Hey, where the hell is the dead?
How would I know?
Don't give me that crap. Start looking.
I already am.
Don't tell me the dead is in one of those rooms.
It's quite far.
How many rooms do you think there are?
Ah, fuck! We don't have time to count. We just need to open them all.
You should just be moving quickly until we find stuff.
It won't open.
Staying at the near end of the hallway talking about how we can't find it doesn't seem helpful.
Shit, this one's so good.
Same here.
It's not moving.
Oh, there it is, at the end of the hallway. Run! Hey, how many more seconds do we have?
How would I know?
Our time limit is 81 seconds.
I know that, goddammit! I'm asking you how many seconds we have left. Hurry!
Not 81! Am I helping?
It's the dead! Get on! Come on, everyone!
Hooray! We didn't die immediately. I mean, these are all very reasonable line reads for something that's kind of awkward to just do in a vacuum. But I just like to imagine that they're like, all right, we got the voice actor for June. Here's your line.
Looks like it stopped.
I noticed that Santa was somehow not winded like the rest of us.
There's another door at the end of the hallway. Let's try this one first. And of course it won't open. A keyhole. What's
Neat.
this mark? Mail?
No, not exactly. That's probably the symbol of Mars. Well, technically, they are the same symbol, but I saw a number of similar symbols near the main stairway.
Hey, June, thanks for the actually. Really appreciate it. Just really super
The
helpful.
symbols of the solar system.
Oh, that's right. The Sun, Saturn, and Earth.
At least that's what I'm assuming.
The symbol for the point of origin?
So this isn't the man symbol. It's a symbol for Mars?
We've already established it's the same symbol. It also doesn't particularly matter,
I think
frankly.
so, yes.
I see. Wait, where's Santa?
Akani's such a dork. Look at her, she's so cute.
Yeah, so, I looked the place over. Here's the deal. None of the other doors open.
Then that must mean...
We only have 2 more doors.
maybe it's the room number.
The door on the left has a B92, and the one on the right says B93.
Disappointed it's not the B-52.
All right, let's open them. I'll open B92.
Okay, I'll get B93 then.
1, 2, 3!
Hey, it opened.
Yeah, it did. I didn't expect that.
You seemed so proud of that. Yeah, it did. I did get that door open. Go me.
It's so easy.
Maybe this is all part of Zero's plan. I can't say I enjoy being treated like someone's puppet. Well, now we have these 2 rooms. I'm sure there's something in there that will help us get out of here. Let's find it. Santa and I will search this room. You 2 take the other one.
All right.
Okay.
Yes, the good noises. Seek a way out. Love that good binary game music. Let's look around. I immediately got an item. It's a box of matches. There are matches inside, obviously. Hey, I got some matches.
How's your fever?
6 mental
Feeling
locks,
better
says Ditto. At least it's not 8. That was too many mental locks. It's... I love, like, seconds. Mere seconds into the escape room. He's like, oh, by the way, let's have a moment. These matches reminded me of the fever that you, like, had for a hot second. A literal hot second.
Yes, I'm fine.
Let me see your forehead.
Oh.
Guess it really has gone down.
She seems very alarmed for him to check her head temperature, which I understand.
Are you worried about me?
Yeah.
I guess I am.
Aww.
By the way, Jumpy.
Hmm?
How did you end up here?
We managed to go with, like, almost the minimum amount of interaction with Jun/Akane on our previous run. I really like the work the voice actress is doing here. Chris says the whoop noise reminds me of Cyber Sleuth menu sounds. Yeah, it's definitely similar.
What do you mean? I told you earlier, didn't I?
There was a man with a gas mask when you got home at night. You inhaled some white smoke and passed out.
Weirdly, that was unrelated to the kidnapping attempt. You're just into some weird
When
stuff.
you woke up, you were on D-Deck.
Damn straight.
But is that really the truth?
What?
Jumpy, are you hiding something from me?
No, why would I?
Well, if you think about it, this is awfully suspicious. I mean, why would 2 childhood friends bump into each other in a place like this?
Hey, I could ask you the same thing.
Well, don't, because I said it first. I got dibs on suspicion, so
Are
there.
you hiding something?
What would I hide?
Well, I don't know. Anything. I mean, you're hiding it. How would
Whatever,
I know?
like the same thing you said to me, like the same thing you said to
You
me.
mean like the number of men I've dated?
Nani? Man, she's really messing around with him pretty good.
Do you want to know? Don't worry. Only 18. I'm 0. Yeah, I guess I just haven't met Mr. Right yet.
Yeah, I see.
Anyway, I'm not hiding anything. Just like you, Jumpy. When I woke up, I was on D-Deck.
Well, you do have a point. I mean, why did Zero pick us? We haven't seen each other since elementary school.
Yeah, but if I know anything about these deadly Japanese game scenarios, like, there's gotta be some kind of reason. As pure coincidence, that just seems unlikely, doesn't it?
I wonder. Look for what connects the victims. That will lead you to the culprit.
I've heard that's what any good cop would
Do you remember Seven saying something like that?
Yeah, I do. So?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think this must all have something to do with a classmate of ours.
You got any ideas who it might be?
No, nothing.
Is there someone who resented you for being together, or who is super happy for you and wants you to reconcile and then kiss?
Oh,
Well, if it had something to do with school, then it could be one of our teachers, or maybe the principal.
Man, can you imagine that? Like, You, like, graduate school, and then, like, I don't know, 10 years later or something, like, some teacher that, like, you pissed off someday, like, traps you on a sinking ship. I mean, that's worse than detention.
Or the janitor, or the lunch lady.
No, I can barely remember any of them.
Yeah, I know.
And scene, I guess. It's a display case, but there's nothing being displayed. How sad. Looks like the drawers are empty, too. I don't think I need anything else. It's a table. What do we got here? It's kind of a weird-looking picture. Do you think it's an abstract painting or something? Looks kind of like a demon with an elephant-like nose, sucking on a human being's brain? Where did that come from? What's her brain made of? Can't say I'd mind finding out a little bit more about what goes on in there. Is that all we get? It's a kind of weird-looking picture. It's a black and white design. Looks like there's a room on the right side of this picture. Oh, that's a really nice thing. Cause like, it's not maybe the most obvious, but there is a door here to the bathroom. I like that the game makes some effort to point that out. What do we got going on in here? It's a little blue platform from the shower wall next to the knobs. It's for putting soap on. I used a shower once, so I know. I'm a real expert on showers because I got clean once. And I thought about doing it again, but I realized I'd just get dirty again the next day, so once was enough. That's the bathroom wall. There are square tiles all over it. Thanks, thank you. Lots of bathroom expertise. Ooh, a toilet. Now let's check the toilet. There's nothing there. The tank's empty too. There isn't even any water in it. A collection of full and partially depleted rolls of toilet paper. Someone was well prepared. There's nothing too suspicious about it. Unless they have it folded the wrong way. That would be very suspicious to me. So I can't use this dry toilet and then not wash my hands, so we're definitely not playing Heavy Rain. It's a shower head. It feels dry too. That probably means no one has used it in a long time. And presumably I can't light it on fire because I got my matches equipped. That's the shower knob. Let's see if anything happens when we turn it. No water's coming out. There's just a bunch of tiles with shapes on them. Why don't I go back to the living room? Okay, let's go back. Actually, there's one more thing I should have checked. Shower curtains, huh? Let's try closing it. If I move, it automatically opens it. Now I can see the full expanse of the shower curtain in all its waterproof glory. There's nothing suspicious. It's just a normal old shower curtain. A narrow shower. And I'm standing in it with June. This is awkward! Time to open the curtain! Nico says, I prefer the toilet room to the shower curtain room. Is that because you, much like Junpei, found that you only needed to shower once per lifetime? Let's go. Jumpy, where are you going? I was thinking of going over to Lotus's room. Do you think maybe you could look around here a little more before you go? There's a lot for me to do here all by myself. The vase looks expensive. I wonder how much we could get for it. Are you gonna steal it? Looks like a valuable empty vase. Looks like there's a room to the right. It really wants you to find the bathroom. What's going on over here? Ah, bedroom. Man, for some reason, like, I always have inverted which rooms are like the exits in 999. I feel like they're clearer in the other games. Your home doesn't even have a shower? That's interesting. I can't remember the last time in the US I saw a place that had, like, bath only. Bottle with water in it. This is a bedroom. They probably have it in here because your throat always feels dry when you wake up, you know? My throat's dry, but I think that's because I'm a little nervous right now. Well, we did run a lot, so we're kind of sweaty. Hey, Jumpy, do you want to take a shower together? I'm just kidding. Too late to take it back. My brain's already working out the picture. My throat was dry already, and this sure isn't helping. It's a little funny to me that, like, that's the sticking point when we're, like, feet away from a bed. How about this? This isn't a painting. Is it a map? It looks like a map of the ship's interior. Oh, this is a great find. I think it'll be really useful. Let's take it with us. See, I'm inclined to disagree for the reason
I
that...
don't need a map to get to Bone Town.
But, you know, that's just me. That's my personal expertise with navigation. It is now possible to use the map screen.
This ship is bigger than I thought.
Yeah, it's probably about 900 feet long.
That's a lot of
Must
feet.
be one of those fancy cruise ships.
Of course, it doesn't really look like a cruise ship. Everything in here is really retro. Even if it's just some sort of style choice, there's just too much.
Do you remember what Zero said?
You're gonna have to be, like, a lot more specific than that. This is the thing that these games are guilty of. I mean, like, we're gonna have, like, a flashback in a second, but it's just, like, in casual conversation, this would seem like an insane thing to have someone try and guess. It's like, is it the fact that we have to go through the numbered doors in groups of 3 to 5? Was that it? Alright, now I just want my answer to her question to be as clear as possible. I remember that Zero was making sounds through the speaker. Do I remember what he said? No, because it mostly sounded like someone running a dishwasher full of rocks, with dubstep playing in the background.
Do you think maybe this boat and the Titanic have something to do with each other?
Devolution says, next game, the villain is played by Tom Hardy. Hey, spoiler alert, Devolution, we'll get there.
That's a good point.
I'm not sure I would describe it as a good point.
I doubt he would have mentioned it if there wasn't a reason.
That's an interesting assumption to make. Spoken like someone who hasn't been a character in an Uchikoshi game before.
Do you think this boat is...
I mean, obviously, I have to know if it's the actual Titanic. Neko asks, who's Tom Hardy? He did you ever watch The Dark Knight Rises? Sort of famously played Bane, who had this, like, voice modulation that made him, like, impossible to understand for, like, fully half of his dialogue, if not more so. For like 2.5 hours. Yeah, I think this is the for real Titanic that definitely sank.
The actual Titanic?
The actual Titanic?
Yeah, you know, the historical Titanic that famously was unsinkable and thus is still around today for us to be trapped on.
You mean it, like, slipped through time and ended up here?
That also could have happened, I guess.
Before the ship sunk on April 14th, 1912?
Yes.
Huh? What the hell are you smoking?
You're literally the one who said it.
Did I get it wrong?
No, that's not... I mean, come on. I mean, slipped through time? Seriously? I was talking about the controversy surrounding the Titanic.
Controversy? What do you mean?
They faked the Titanic sinking. The same people who eventually went on to do the moon landing, they also faked the Titanic sinking. And the Hindenburg incident, for reasons. I can't imagine what they are, but, like, I'm sure someone believes all of those things together all at once.
Haven't you heard of it? It's pretty famous, you know? The Titanic had a sister ship that was essentially identical. It was called the Olympic.
Oh, yes, I have heard of that.
No, you
I
haven't.
think I heard it was troubled by a lot of problems. And the company that owned it didn't know what to do with it, right? So they made the Olympic up to look just like the brand new Titanic.
That's right. They also took out a huge insurance policy on it before it set sail.
That would mean that the real Titanic never sank.
Yeah, the ships got swapped. The real Titanic was renamed the Olympic in secret. They used it as a passenger ship for more than 20 years.
Yeah, but even if all that's true, you got yourself like a real Ship of Theseus situation, where it's like if they're essentially identical boats and then you switch their names, which is it really still like the Titanic or whatever?
Hey, wait a minute. Wouldn't that mean it retired in 1935?
Why do people, like... Only in, like, Uchikoshi games do people, like, casually have this much knowledge about, like, obscure conspiracy theories.
Huh? Well, yeah, I guess sometime around then, yeah.
Well, what happened to it after that?
I heard it was dismantled.
Dismantled? And it doesn't matter, does it? Whichever boat the real Titanic was, it doesn't exist anymore. It was either retired and dismantled, or sunk in the Atlantic by the curse.
Uh-oh, it's bad that the curse is in brackets. Hey, Arcadius, welcome to the stream. How's it going?
Then that would mean that this ship is...
Wait, what did you just say?
Huh?
Sank in the Atlantic because of what?
The curse.
What do you mean, a curse?
A curse is a curse. This one is the curse of the Egyptian mummy.
I mean, obviously. The most common curse of all has to be the angry mummy, right?
Supposedly, the Titanic carried the mummy of the priestess Amun-Ra, which was stolen from a pyramid. And they say that the mummy had a history.
Arcadius says, Vasco, everyone has casual Titanic knowledge. It's like Wombo. I Wombo, you Wombo, he, she, we Wombo, Wombology, the study of Wombo. It's first grade, Vasco. Yeah, we all know about Wombo. Wombo Combo, Wombo Italiano. We know all about the Wombo. Wombo number 5, that's a good Wombo.
Everyone involved with it died mysterious deaths. Come on, I'm sure you've heard of it before.
Just, they make the wildest assumption. This game might be the worst for this particular version of the Uchikoshi rant, where, like, everyone just assumes you know these, like, really specific, insane things. And then, like, they'll go on to tell you anyway. Like, they'll explain in great detail the thing that you probably don't know, that you have no reason to know.
Those who open the coffin will be forever cursed. Haven't you ever heard that one?
Yeah, I've watched DuckTales before.
So you're saying the Titanic sunk because of that curse?
That's right!
That's stupid. I don't buy it.
It's true!
How can you be so sure?
That mummy wasn't just a normal mummy. It was really mysterious. Totally unbelievable.
It was like an extra double plus cursed mummy. It was like value-size cursed.
What is so unbelievable about it?
Well, supposedly, she was really pretty.
Pretty?
She was like a stupid, hot, dummy, thick mummy.
Yes?
But she was a mummy.
That's right.
Most people were able to escape the curse because they could hear her cheeks clapping as she staggered towards them, mummy style.
She wasn't all shriveled up or rotten or anything. She almost looked alive.
Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, it's that thing. I don't remember the name. Where your body turns into some kind of wax?
It's that thing where you're like a mummy, but you're hot because it's like a video game and because we don't want to look at it like a scary mummy or whatever.
The fat in it turns into something kind of like candle wax, right? And...
I reject your hypothesis, Arcadius. That people escaped the curse because Brendan Fraser lost popularity. It's not that Brendan Fraser lost popularity. It's that the people of the world let him down. That's the truth.
Yes, saponification, but that's not what it was.
I love really specific words like this. Saponification, which I did not remember from playing this game before. It's like people being turned into wax. I remember, like, a long time ago, I saw, like, a tweet where someone, like, was, like, making a joke about how, like, neurotic they come across on dates. And, like, they made some offhanded reference to, like, carcineration or something like that, which is, like, this bizarre, like, theory or, like, obscure occurrence where, like, things, like, turn into crabs. And, like, I just, like, am really, like, mystified by the concept that that's a thing that happens enough that there needs to be a word for it, even in, like, a fictional sense.
Huh?
That's not it. She wasn't wax.
Then what was it?
I told you, she was a hot mummy.
Say that she was frozen.
Oh, she was less a mummy than, like, a princess then, right?
Frozen?
Pokemon does something similar, where dragons mysteriously evolve into jet planes. Accurate.
That's right. The whole body was frozen solid.
But it's like a hot desert that the mummies come from.
You know how a human body is more than 60% water? Well, all of that water was frozen. The story says that from the time of its discovery all the way through to when it got put on the Titanic.
You think that, like, somewhere in the world there's, like, a freezer section to some store that's, like, been in place for so long that, like, mummy is, like, frozen in the back room behind some, like, Hot Pockets or something that someone just, like, forgot about? Just, like, a whole mummy?
Even though it was carried through the desert, her body never melted.
That's crazy.
I think so too, but maybe it's true and we just didn't know about it before.
Before you made it up just now?
No.
Yep. Maybe it's common sense to eat shaved ice in the desert because it lasts forever.
Don't think that's true.
Nah, that seems too silly to be true.
But maybe it isn't. It just appears that way because you didn't know it was true.
Well, yeah.
Ice that doesn't melt, even in the desert? Does something like that really exist? No, even if it did, it wouldn't really be ice anymore, would it?
Is all that from looking at the water? There's some water. It's not important water. A wooden cupboard. There are cups inside, surprising no one. It's a light blue blanket with some designs on it. Someone's made the bed, or at least never unmade it. It's only bed sheets under the blanket, nothing exciting. I mean, it couldn't hurt to, like, thoroughly check though, right? Right? Look, there's two pillows right next to each other. Guess it's a double. Huh? What's up? You're turning red. Oh man, is her fever back? Hey, are you alright? Do you need to lay down for a minute? I'm fine. I think it's still a little early for that. Huh? Hey, seriously, are you really okay? So I don't need anything from the bed? I honestly couldn't remember. A bed frame! Now we don't have to worry about falling off. I toss and turn when I sleep. She's blushing again. What is she thinking about? Oh, Junpei. How incongruous with your character not to recognize what's happening. Hey, this locked drawer was unlocked. I got a sick dresser key. A key! Do you think it's the key to the dresser? Can I lock it? It's a dresser. There's nothing on top. This is the mirror for the dresser. Now she's playing with her hair. Does she even realize she's doing that? Hey, we don't have time for that. Come on, it's not like there's anyone here you need to impress. Yes, there is. Who? Come on, dude! Junpei. Why are you so quiet all of a sudden? Forget it, Jumpy. It's a good thing we found a map in here. Junpei may need it to find Bone Town. I think I can leave now. Jumpy, where are you going? I was thinking of going over there. What do you mean why? I was just gonna check on it.
Get to Bone Town.
I mean, I'm proud of you, Neko. You don't need that map. Some people do, and it's a shame. But like, you know, we try not to judge them. Even though I'm judging Jupiter just like some amount. Well, no, come back soon. Yeah, sure thing. I'll leave the rest here to you. Sure. Leave it to me. Alright, off to the other room now. Man, ending a conversation is super hard. Let's use our dresser key. The room in the back is dark. Aren't there any lights? Huh? It's a light switch, right? Sweet, I could use some light. Shoot, no dice! Think the bulbs are burned out? Either that or all the electricity to this room was deliberately shut off. I don't really give a crap why it doesn't work. It doesn't work and we can't do anything about it. Way too dark in here to see anything. We're going to need some light. Okay, well luckily I do have... I mean, we're like all the way in the room. No, I'm not... Just let me leave. I got these matches for this conspicuous candle. Candle with a candlestick. Might come in handy. Want me to combine it the old-fashioned way? Sure, I hear you. I know! We'll call them poplars. We'll combine fire with candle to make candle on fire. I can use these things together. This felt like more fanfare than was necessary. Echo says, I mean, Antarctica is a desert since it never rains there. Well, yeah, but like, they said it was an Egyptian mummy. She came from hot desert. Hot desert can't have frozen hot princess. There's too many contradictions in that sentence. You think Lotus might be related to the receptionist? It's possible. I don't know. I kind of imagine that Lotus's kids would be more traditionally intelligent, in the sense that, like, she seems like a really smart, but, like, kind of mean person, and I feel like her daughters would be, like, book-style smart, in a way that I don't think the receptionist from Lemniscate is. Alright, now we have this candle, and it will light up the whole room like that one stupid Twilight Zone episode. Oh, you set the candle on top of the dresser so you don't have to carry it around and have it in your inventory anymore. Oh yeah, good idea. Hey, it got pretty bright. Now we can look around a little. I need my inventory back. Put this in hand. Open door. Let's see if this... Yes! Yes, it worked! I got a thing! That's a strange design. Is it ceramic? Doesn't look like there are any puzzles in it. And the bar will be named Puzzles. Why is it named that? That's part of the puzzle. So, the rest of the room's still too dark? I don't think we're gonna need water for anything. That's the room 5 challenge. Hey, Junpei! It's a cupboard! There's a friggin' cupboard in here! Are you alright, man? Oh, don't give me that. Come on, a cupboard in a bedroom? That can only mean there's a safe in here. What? There's nothing here. Got me all worked up for nothing. Curtain. A curtain, huh? Well, it's got all these metal rings. Probably could hang it from something, you know? Yeah, but it doesn't look like a normal curtain. The way it feels. I think it's probably waterproof. Should make it a shower curtain. Shower curtain, huh? Anything else in here? 2 pillows in a pile. Oh. A pile of pillows. Is that supposed to be some kind of joke? Hey, calm down. Anything under the blanket? Nope, nothing suspicious here. Huh? Hey, what gives? Just got dark all of a sudden. Maybe the candle got blown in. We should go see. Is that really important? Oh, no, it is actually important. There's a candlestick covered in melted wax on top of the dresser. It was the fastest burning candle ever to exist in the history of time. Hey, what's this? The top of the candlestick looks kind of weird. You're right. It's all bumpy. Candlestick key. Kind of looks like a doorknob. Like I said, she thinks the receptionist is smarter than she appears. I don't doubt that. But, like... I mean, I guess the way I would put it is simply that, like, I feel like Otis would enforce a more outward sense of competence, I think. Which isn't to say that the receptionist isn't competent, but just I think that appearance would matter to her. I mean, she's not concerned with people's perceptions of her, but I think that she wants to be recognized as capable to an extent that I have a hard time believing that she'd be okay with her kids, like, just doing whatever. Well, this is a display case. Check it out. These plates look really expensive. Want to take a look? That's a pretty weird-looking design. It looks like a Holstein pattern. Listen, I don't know what that is. Let's see if this candlestick key will do anything. Yes! It opened! Alright, pull it open. Give it to me this. I need it! Hey, don't you think the pattern on that tile looks like something? Yeah, I think I saw it somewhere.
Hey, Junpei, you got a minute? Here, take this.
Do you like that there's like 3 of us searching this one room and like June is like unable to poop in the other room all by herself?
A bookmark? What is this for? Do you want me to read a book?
Do you think that this is part of a puzzle or something?
I found it in between some of the cushions on the sofa. Pretty sure it ain't gonna be any help to us, but I figured we might as well hang on to it anyway.
Like all characters will eventually learn to decide for themselves. I figured that you should put it in your bottomless key item pocket inventory because it's not part of the immediate puzzle and I think I'll lose it or something.
Then why don't you hold on to it?
You know what I hate most in the world? I got 4 things. Hope, faith, love, and luck.
That's a really weird set of things to hate. That's very specific and unusual.
Hope, faith, love, and luck?
Damn straight.
And you hate these things?
I hate love. I am an evil robot. Hate love.
You got a problem with that?
Not really, but what does a bookmark have to do with any of that?
Well, see, each leaf on the 4-leaf clover has a meaning to it, okay? And that meaning is pretty much those 4 words. It's like a flower language. Well, I guess it's not a flower, is it? So, leaf language, I guess? Yeah, you could call them leaf words.
You could call them leaf words. It's different than Mizuki words. It's interesting that he went to all the trouble to learn the, like, secret meaning behind the individual leaves of a 4-leaf clover to confirm that they were specifically the 4 things that he hates. Like, that doesn't seem like common knowledge, but then again, that might be one of those, like, Titanic conspiracy theory things, where if we had taken a different approach to this conversation, you'd be like, you know, the meaning behind all the leaves on a 4-leaf clover. Like, everyone knows that.
Leaf words. Hope, faith, love, and luck. The meaning of the leaves on a 4-leaf clover.
So, yeah, I want you to take it, okay? Just touching it gives me the creeps.
You're an extremely weird person that we've spent very little time with, Santa.
Take the damn thing, all right? Here.
What do you want to do? Hey, Chad. How do we feel about this 4-leaf clover bookmark? Do we want it, or do we not want it? It might be funny to make Santa uncomfortable and force him to keep it, but I don't know, maybe we will read a book later. He does look genuinely upset. He looks like he's being, like, haunted right now, like a chills running down his spine because the room is filled with ghosts or something. Yeah, we might as well take it and make him feel more comfortable, huh?
Alright, sure. I'll take it.
Oh, man, I feel a lot better now.
He looks a lot happier, weirdly enough.
That thing was a real pain, you know?
Do you really hate those 4 words that much?
Yeah, well, they can all betray you, you know? Hope, faith, love, even your destiny. Well, that's
Destiny wasn't the
reason.
4th one.
What?
That's not the only reason I hate the 4-leaf clover. I just can't bring myself to like the number 4.
What, worried about the 4 horsemen?
Nah, come on, man. That's just silly. Maybe back in the Dark Ages that kind of crap scared people. But this is the 21st century, and I'm a 21st century guy. I'm a little insulted.
Then why do you hate 4 so much?
'Cause it's a half-ass number. Not the best or the worst. That's why.
What?
That's not any clearer than anything
9
else.
is a way better number. So what if it's last place, right? At least it's not some lame-ass middle number.
What are you...
You play?
Play?
I mean, I don't even... I feel like gambling is more likely to be an answer to you play.
You mean like gambling?
Yeah, of course. What else would I mean?
I mean, you chose to not be clear, so you could mean lots of stuff. Hey, Oren Belmont, welcome to the stream. Nice to have you here. How you doing? We're playing 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors, obviously. Not sure if you're familiar with it, but it is a visual novel where our player character and 8 other people have been forced into a deadly game. We've just recently started our second playthrough after having a rather ominous experience with a different ending. Thank you to Angel of Iron for gifting a sub for 3 months to Oren Belmont. Thank you very much. Here, I'll give you one of these. Very fun. Yeah, we have lots of very generous people in chat who also can't stand people in chat not having gift subscriptions, which I'm grateful for. But yeah, enjoy the emotes. I think they're a lot of fun. But also, thanks for dropping by. Hope you enjoy the game. You have it for the DS. Yeah, I originally played this on the DS. I thought it'd be, well, it's definitely easier to stream the PC version. But it's my first time doing it, so I'm a little wonky on the controls, to be honest. Oh, I like that take. Snake is the best character in the franchise. I think my favorite character only gets introduced in the second game. Fi, you probably recognize.
In Baccarat, the best possible hand totals 9. They call it Le Grand.
Why does Baccarat keep coming up in this game? Demolition, not to be outdone, is gifted 5 subs. Thank you, Demolition, for that. Can I have one of these? Look at those alerts for a minute. Nope, they're broken for some reason. Did I break them? That's
But
fine.
the lowest, most worthless cards, the zeros, they call monkey.
Just like the guy in charge of this game, huh? Zero's a monkey.
What?
Zero's a monkey. Nani?
Oh man, you're totally right.
Santa's such a weird dude. There's some weird characters trapped on this boat with us. I mean, at this point, Neko, I think Demolition has just scattered gift subs to the wind in order to find recipients.
The guy who trapped us in here sure is one hell of a monkey.
You know, if you think about it, the nonary game is really a lot like Baccarat.
It's somewhat like Baccarat.
Of course, it doesn't use any of that stupid digital root junk. You just drop the tens digit, and that's it. Still, it does have the same idea of your final number needing to be a single digit.
Oh, yeah, I guess you got a point.
And in both games, whoever has 9 wins.
The person who makes 9 wins?
Wait, did you forget already? Don't you remember what Zero said?
Uh-oh, it's time for one of those indistinguishable flashbacks. Ready, go.
It is hidden, but an
Oh,
exit
no,
can
it's not
be
actually
found.
Zero talking this time.
Seek a way out. Seek a door that carries a 9.
Yeah, it's my first time playing with the voices, too. I've been really happy with the casting choices.
So, if we want to get off this boat, we have to make a team whose numbers have the digital root of 9.
And only the people in that team are going to make it out alive.
Of course. That's why it's called the nonary game.
What?
Huh?
You don't know? Nonary means something derived from 9, or base 9.
Yeah, well, I bet you didn't know about the Curse of the Hot Mummy or whatever.
It's derived from the Latin prefix nona, which means 9.
Nona, huh? That's an interesting word for you to bring up. After what we found out on our last
While
journey.
we're at it, the prefix for 1 is uni. You know, like the unicorn, the horse with 1 horn. 2 is bi, like binary. Binary means composed of 2 parts. 3 is tri. I'm sure you've heard that one plenty. Like trio, triple, and triangle. You get the idea.
Like some sort of tri-attack?
After that, you have quart, quinti, sext, septum, and so on. And of course the prefix for 8 is octo, like octopus. It's called that because it has 8 legs. Get it?
I see.
Why are we talking
so
about
then
this?
Nona means 9.
We just got the submarine ending, and that was the first one that we've gotten in our playthrough on stream.
So, how many of us are trapped on this ship?
To be clear, I've played the game before. The Zero Escape series is one of my favorite video game series of all time. Yeah, big oof on that one. But I've been a little bit coy in my description of things because I know there's some folks in chat who aren't familiar with the game, and I'm trying to afford them the opportunity to experience things sort of in order and whatnot.
That'd be 9.
And what are the bracelet numbers we have?
They go from 1 to 9.
And our time limit? How many hours did we have?
Zero said 9 hours.
And finally, to get out of this ship,
we need to find the door with a 9 that's hidden somewhere in the ship.
By making a team with the digital root of 9.
And there you have it. The number 9 is everywhere in this game.
Heck, it appears 3 times in this game's title. The ending music of this game should just have a giant troll face. I mean, we obviously haven't gotten to it yet. The music cue that plays in Virtue's Last Reward and Zero Time Dilemma, when you reach like an endgame situation, is like one of my favorite things. It's like it somehow feels so like comically sarcastic to me. I really love it. When we get there, I'm gonna have to like do something with that for the soundboard or something.
It's got a real theme of 9s for this whole thing. No wonder it's called the Nonary game.
Big fan of 9. What do you think June's thinking about right now? And is it fixing her hair? Can I go in your bathroom? This is the bathroom wall. The whole wall is covered in these square tiles. So I think, yeah, this room does not have a shower curtain. So I should be able to hang up the one we found. There's a curtain rod running along the ceiling. Let's put that shower curtain on those hooks. Let's try spreading the curtains. Ah, that's a pretty obvious peephole. Somebody's really dedicated. You know, with a hole this big, you gotta wonder if maybe they wanted to be caught. So you're saying maybe the one getting spied on was into that? Maybe they were into, like, those home invasion fantasies? Home invasion. Interesting. I see. I'm gonna write that down in my notebook. Head empty, no thoughts. Yep. I was waiting for Lotus to chime in on that. You two are real idiots, you know that? I don't remember how I get the game to trigger the obvious thing that you would do with a tile that has a hole in it. Is there anything in the toilet? Guess not. Tank's empty too. If I open it again, does it trigger? Sometimes stuff's weird like that. Pretty sure I need to, like, look through the curtain and, like, look at a specific tile? Maybe if I... No, I already had it open and looked at it, right? I think that's the thing to do. I love feeling stupid. It's my favorite. Plus, I still need a... Time before I can do the other thing here. Am I just supposed to match it on, like, sight line? It would be... I can't even have the curtain closed while... Remember the thing. Oh, look, Junpei, there's a mushroom growing out of the wall. That's a shower head. That's the shower knob. I tried turning it, but no water comes out. This thing's a little shelf for putting on soap. some toilet paper. We've got 2 rolls, I guess. In case we do lots of... Oh, wait. It's over here. It's visible over here. Let's try spreading the curtains. There's a hole in the curtain. If I look at it from a ways back, I can see a single tile. Alright, from here I can see what tile it is. It looks like it's 5th from the top and 3rd from the right. The green one. Let's have a closer look. Nothing strange here. It's not budging. Well, that means... I'll be honest, I don't remember what that means. Think about this. Let me go back to the room. This is one of my favorite songs in the whole franchise. There are lots of good songs. The music in this game series is quite good, but I just really like this one in particular. So I think I probably need to access that tile in order to solve the other thing. Do I have anything to do in the room I started in? Okay. There is something for me to do in the other room. If I click the thing enough times, it will remind me that stuff is mirrored, like getting the key to the other drawer. What's up? You're gonna go back already? I can't just leave June by herself. What, you think you're her knight or protector or something? You're creeping me out. Never, man. I'm going. Yeah, I bet he's, like, not a super big fan of that. This is one of those, like, things that would seem just, like... She's just been sitting here by herself, and I just come in, I'm like, I'm just gonna take this shower tile and leave. Yes, this one's loose. I think I can get under it with my nails. Excellent. Now I have 3 weird tiles. Who would have thought this would be hidden in the bathroom, huh? You did a good job finding it. No, I didn't. So one side has a design like the rest of the bathroom tiles, and the other has a black and white design? I think I've seen this pattern before. Let's go do the thing. I'm gonna go leave again. There's a tile in the frame. I guess I'm supposed to put the tiles in the empty spaces? I'm gonna give it a shot. So, like, probably should have, like, consulted the other one before doing this, right? So, like... yeah, something like that. Yes! I did it! There! Picture complete! And there goes the frame. What's this? What do you mean, what's this? Pretty obvious, isn't it? It's a hole in the wall. Like a hidden safe or something, you know? Anyway, let's take a look. I think there's something inside. Mars key! Whoa. This is one of those Mars symbols. The door at the end of the hallway. It has the same symbol engraved on the keyhole. Then that's gotta mean... yes, we can use this key to get through that door. But before we do that...
this picture anyway.
Alright, chat. I'm gonna need your help in a sec.
I think I've seen this picture before.
Where?
In a book. There's a British biochemist named Sheldrake. He has a rather interesting theory. I saw this picture in his book.
What's this interesting theory?
Morphogenetic fields, which relies on the theory of morphic resonance.
Ooh. It's fancy Uchikoshi cult theory time.
Man, I can't deal with this. Just listening to you talk about it is giving me a headache.
Excellent.
It's not a difficult concept to grasp. In essence, he states that the shape of living organisms and their behavioral patterns
Alright, not like a great start if you're going for layman terms there,
are
Lotus.
transmitted through a field not visible to the eye.
What part of that isn't difficult, exactly?
Alright, how about this? Theory of the telepathic mechanism.
Telepathy?
Yes, telepathy. Well, perhaps not exactly telepathy. but it's close enough for a simple approximation.
Are you serious? Telepathy?
Yeah, theory of telepathy. What's your
Who
problem?
do you think we are? Kids from the 70s? I can't believe someone would actually do serious research on something like that.
Yes, I agree. I read the book, but I can hardly say I understood it.
Then how is it that you feel like it is very simple to grasp or
I'm in no
whatever?
position to defend or condemn anything it said. It was probably just someone latching onto a statistical outlier from some study and turning it into a ridiculous theory. There's no scientific merit to any of it, I'm sure.
Then why bring it up?
So,
I'm sure it's garbage, but I also believe it could apply here.
Anyway, I saw a picture like that one in his book. Hey, what do you think this picture looks like?
What do you mean? Isn't it just like abstract or something like that? It's just black and white scribbles. There's no meaning there. That's it.
That's almost a hurtful
What
thing
about
to say,
you,
really.
Does it look like anything to you?
I kind of wish that the Westworld option were available here. That it doesn't look like anything to me. Pat, it's really important. I'd love to get your input. What do you think that this image looks like? We can still sort of see it through the semi-transparent text box there, but we've had it in the background over in June's room. What would you say this thing looks like? His parents fighting. That's an excellent guess that for some reason is not available in this game. But yeah, I think you're really onto something with that, Demolition. And it would maybe explain why it's in that book. What's that last thing? That's an interesting question, Angel. You mean a Funya-Rinpa? Are you not familiar with the Funya-Rinpa? Well, let's see what happens if we tell the game that that's what we think it looks like. Because, frankly, that's my first thought when I look at this, is that it's a Funya-Rinpa.
A Funya-Rinpa. See? I mean, this totally looks like one. And here and here.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you look at the curvature of the head and then, like, the way the back sort of, you know, wraps around into the pointed tail. Oh, I clicked chat accidentally. I have too many windows open.
What the hell is a Funya-Rinpa?
How can you even ask me that?
What do you mean? What the hell is a Funya-Rinpa? You mean you don't know?
Like, seriously? Is it finally our time to get one up on someone else in the room with our ridiculous information?
How would I know?
How could you not know? That's practically blasphemous. Oh, say you're sorry. Apologize to the Funya-Rinpa. Goodness, you are such a rude woman.
I completely agree.
Junpei, are you just screwing around? Forget it. I'm just gonna tell you. This is a dog. See? Like...
Oh, yeah.
So...
Definitely good voice acting there. He definitely portrays, like, the sincerity, but also the sarcasm of it. Like, he sells that he really believes that it is a thing that is not.
Now we know what it's a picture of, but I don't see how that helps us.
A TV show from Great Britain did an experiment once. They took two similar pictures. Both of them were difficult to identify, initially. But once you figured out the answer, you couldn't see it as anything else. These two pictures. The first was a woman wearing a hat.
I don't know, man. I've played this game a few times now, and every time I see that painting, it still looks like a Funya-Rinpa to me.
The other one, well, to make it easier, let's just say it was this picture of a dog. So, their experiment. First, they sent the picture to other parts of the world, outside the reach of British airwaves.
Still can't see it as a dog. They did flash it pretty quick. I don't even think I clicked through that. I think it was just really fast. Basically, it's supposed to look like a Boston Terrier kind of dog, where, like, this is sort of its head, this here is its nose, this up here is its ear, and then, like, this is a leg, this is a leg, and this is a leg. But, like, I still kind of see it as, like, this is a weird demon proboscis, and, like, a little wing and a pointy tail. And then, like, over down here is where Demolition was sort of talking about Ditto's parents fighting.
To Ireland, the US, Africa, Europe, etc.
Angel says, yeah, but no, I see the woman in the hat just fine. Yeah, but like, I mean, it's, you know, she says it's like when you see it, you can't unsee it, but like, I definitely just see the Funyurimpa.
Then, in each country, they gathered a number of test subjects, roughly 1,000 people. They were shown the two pictures and asked, what does this picture look like to you? The results weren't really interesting on their own. 9.2% of the people saw the lady in the lady picture. 3.9% saw the dog in the dog picture. Then, 2 days later, they aired a new program on their show.
You still see Mr. Mime wearing a bow tie standing under a leaf on a cloudy day.
During the 30-minute show, they broadcast the dog picture and its solution. The audience was estimated to be 200,000 people. After the broadcast, it was a safe bet that the number of people who knew the solution to the dog picture was at least that many. After another 2 days passed, they gathered more research subjects from areas outside the reach of British TV and radio. This time, they only found a sample of roughly 850 people. Naturally, none of them had participated in the first test. They were, however, given the same tests and the same two pictures. The results were startling. 10% of the people saw the lady in the lady picture. The previous test sat at a 9.2% success rate. Not much of a change statistically. The dog picture, however, produced a very different result.
0% somehow.
The percentage of people able to successfully find the dog, it went from 3.9% to 6.8%, a very significant increase. So do you understand? Do you realize the significance of this experiment?
It's a tough sell. Now I'm trying to see the Mr. Mime. So the curvy bit's the leaf, I presume. I can sort of see, like, the cloudy weather.
There was no way the second group could have seen the picture.
Suddenly you see the dog. Yeah, it's pretty weird, right? But here's the question, Angel. Can you unsee the dog?
They lived far away from Britain and couldn't have seen it.
I don't know. To me, like, I still always... Like, I know where the dog is. Like, I can see it. But, like, until it's sort of pointed out to me again, my natural interpretation of the image is definitely still, like, it's a weird demon creature with, like, a wing and a tail. Like, it just somehow looks so much like that to me that it just, like, always jumps out at me. I should apologize to the Mr. Mime. It is nearly blasphemous. I'm really sorry about that, Neko and Mr. Mime.
But even so, it was only the success rate for the dog picture that went up. Why? How did that happen? What does it mean?
Oh, wait, does this have something to do with that field? Or whatever it was that you were talking about earlier? A field not visible to the eye. So, if more people know the answer, then that information will pass through the field.
Psych!
Lotus is, like, especially weird about this thing. She'll go on, like, an Uchikoshi rant and be like, haha, skull joke! I don't know what I'm talking about.
I was just kidding. You really shouldn't take me seriously.
Oh, yeah. Or I love all the weird, like, borderline occult and, like, fringe science stuff that they touch on. Even though, like, some of it is, like, outright fully fictional. Like, a lot of it has, like, at least some basis in some kind of theory of something that really exists. And, like, that stuff I find really interesting. It really, like, drew me into this game. That and, the first ending I got, which I can't really name because it's kind of a spoiler, but, like, man, just, like, that really grabbed me. I was like, I must know more about this game. This isn't what I thought it was.
Well, I mean, the things I just told you about are true. They really did happen.
But also, I don't believe any of it, and I'm just lying to you or whatever.
The results of that experiment really aren't anything to go by. They could have easily falsified them. In the end, I'm sure they were just in it for the ratings. They are a TV station, after all.
Right! I, really thought you were serious.
Of course not. Like I told you before, I'm sure it's all just pseudoscience.
Oh! Okay, right.
Too smart for your own good ending? No, I don't think that's... think I know what you're referring to by that, and I would say no, not that one.
All right, enough nonsense. We've got the key. Let's get out of here.
Word.
This one where you see like a different
field not
side of
visible
one
to
of the
naked
characters unexpectedly.
Morphogenetic field.
All right. Let's go to the hallway. I'll get June. You guys head to the door. Okay. Roger that. I want to go get June. Yes, it unlocked. Good job, Junpei. Good, now we can get going. Come on, what are you guys standing around for? Let's get out of here. Come on, Jumpy, let's go. All right, let's go. I'm going to open the door. Ahem. You found it. Elevator noise for some reason.
Oh, another hallway.
Come on, open!
It's not going to open because you rattled it, you know.
Maybe if I try harder.
Look over here!
Elevators. And the buttons? Of course they don't work.
The power must be out here too, just like by the staircase.
That leaves this door. Well, looks like we don't have any choice.
Yeah.
Sure does.
Well then, let's open it.
All right, here I go.
All right, I'm gonna open the door again.
Oh, so it's a kitchen.
What were you expecting?
Isn't it obvious? The exit? I was hoping this would be the way out of here.
You really think it'd be that easy?
Yeah, I know. Still.
If we can just get through this door, we should come out on the other side of that grate we saw earlier.
I don't know, I didn't think it was that great.
No good.
Sorry, I guess that wasn't very constructive. What? Why is the dialogue not matching the actual things the characters are saying at this moment?
Anyway, let's take a look.
Hey!
What's that?
Huh? Oh yeah, I guess I forgot to tell you.
Oh yeah, we found like a whole entire
I
map.
found this a little while ago. It's a map of the B deck.
Let me see that. I knew it. See? Look.
Yes, hold your horses.
What did you figure out?
This is handy.
See? We came in here. Now if we go out there, then we'll be on the other side of the grate.
How about that? She's right. We can get out through there.
There we go. Here, you can have it back.
We'll need to seek a way out. It looks locked. On account of the red
There's a card reader
card
on the right
reader.
side of the door.
And that means the key card is somewhere in here, right?
That seems the most likely.
All right, we know what we need to do then. Let's get moving. First off, I say we split up and look for clues.
Okay.
Alright, but who's gonna go with Shaggy and Scooby this time? Seek a way out. I kind of forgot how often this game pulls that trick of like you solve like one escape room and then immediately go into another one. I think it's sort of a distinct difference from the later games because like they'll just do fewer, more elaborate rooms, whereas this game really likes to keep its rooms like streamlined and self-contained for the most part. The title of my catchphrase, what's that, Demolition? Seek a way out, or something else I said? Oh, that's a great point, Neko. If there are eggs here, and I could picture that happening, but if there are eggs here, I could make my special raw egg omelet. I think I mentioned this on stream, but I recently watched a speed run of Heavy Rain, the game where I was able to do that and had much too much fun doing that. Is like deliberately failing the quick time event to make eggs, so that you basically just pour a raw egg onto a plate and disappoint a woman. But like it's actually like a legitimate speedrunning strat because it's like the quickest way to end that scene is to just ruin that egg. A voucher. It says, Appetizer 9, meat dish 10, soup A, seafood dish F. Those 9 plates look pretty expensive. They're plates for appetizers. Remember, appetizers usually come on square plates. Okay, well excuse me, princess. I think there are 15 of these plates. I'm assuming they're for seafood. How can you tell that? They look just like any other plate from a 99-cent store. Oh, I'm afraid they did, Angel. If you're having to ask if they did it, they definitely did. Yeah, unfortunately, regrettably, yes. If you ever take a lady out to dinner, you're going to embarrass yourself. I feel sorry for June. What? Is it? What? Why are you saying that? The lady doth protest too much, methinks. The lady didn't say anything. I'm protesting. Hey, wait a minute. You are not terribly subtle. Harsh. So what did this say again? It says 9:10 AF. Flip these over, they look like hats. It could also be a hat. Middle is deep for a supper plate. They're soup plates. They're made that way so the soup doesn't spill. If you ever get out of here, you should treat yourself to a nice dinner out. What makes you think a poor college student has the money to do something like that? There's a bunch of little wavy ridges on this plate. Those plates are for serving meat. Ugh, you really are ignorant, aren't you? Come on, it's not like I need to know this crap, jeez. There's a voucher at the end of the counter. It doesn't match the number of plates on the table. It says appetizer 9, meat 10, soup A, seafood F. And the plates are 9, 16, 10, 15. Not in the same order. Maybe they're using hexadecimal here. And hexadecimal is, you know, the force of chaos from the CGI animated show Reboot that everyone in my chat is definitely old enough to remember. You know the show Reboot? Where, like, all the characters, like, lived inside a computer and then, like, a giant, poorly rendered GameCube would come down and hit them and then they'd have to reboot into some sort of character that would be appropriate for that video game and then they have to beat the user or else they get turned into nulls, these little bad creatures that, like, don't do anything anymore. You know, Reboot? Hexadecimal. She's, like, the creepy, like, emotionally unstable villainess. Hexadecimal, it's a number system that goes 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F, 10, 11. You're familiar with base 10, right? That's the normal system of numbers. The base 10 equivalents for hexadecimal numbers would go like this. A equals 10, B equals 11, C equals 12, D equals 13, E equals 14, F equals 15. And 10 equals 16. 10 becomes 16 in base 10. I know it sounds strange, but you can think of it as just 6 letters added on the normal number system after 9. A equals 10, B equals 11, C equals 12, D equals 13, E equals 14, F equals 15, and 10 equals 16. And so on. I think I get it. Wow, this pot looks like it's made out of silver. I bet drinking tea from this pot would be really yummy. Spending a day off with June, drinking tea. Could such a day ever happen for me? Aw, that's so cute. Jumpy? Oh, nothing. We don't really need hot water, so we should be moving on. It's a lot of notes. They've got a bunch of stuff written on them, but it doesn't look like a code or anything like that. It's a bolt. And it's really rusty. Will this even open? We won't know till we try. Let's give it a shot. Alright, let's see if you're gonna come out. No dice. What about this door? I got a whole sheet or something. There's a knife in this box.
A rusty knife? I don't think we'll be able to use it while it's like this.
It's futile.
Much like resistance.
Futile.
You know, a waste, useless, point.
Oh. Any particular reason you wanted to bring that up?
Oh, no reason really.
Nothing is ever said for no reason in an Uchikoshi
I was
game.
just thinking about futility.
It's somewhat effective!
What an absurd statement this is. Neko says, now you can use knife on things. It is the ultimate, like, puzzle game solution to any given situation, is, like, use knife on object or obstacle or character. But, like, there's something just ridiculous to me about, like, we're hanging out and I'm like, oh, a rusty knife. I guess that's not extremely helpful. And she's like, no, it's futile because I was thinking about the concept of futility. And it's like, all right, I don't know what to say to that, June.
Huh?
Correct answer.
Why were you thinking about futility?
Well, it has something to do with the Titanic.
And it's true. It's somewhat effective in the sense that it's somewhat effective was used to apply to it's unclear whether it's effective or not.
The Titanic?
Yep. Have you ever heard the story that the sinking of the Titanic was predicted?
Yeah, but what about the theory that it was fake, like all those things I said before? It's definitely for real. Yeah, June is, like, frequently drunk, to be fair, but, like, this is, like, this is one of those things where, like, I don't actually know if normal people do this. This might be, like, a personal thing that I do. Which, like, sometimes, like, I'll come across some, like, interesting, like, you know, events or, like, post or something on the internet, and, like, I don't immediately have anyone to, like, talk to about it, and so, like, I will, like, wait for someone to bring up something even, like, remotely close to it in conversation, and then I basically do what June just did and be like, I was thinking about futility. And then everyone around me, like, humors me and then, like, talks about me behind my back is probably, like, how that goes. Neko says they'd be a lot less pressed for time during these puzzles if they didn't keep talking about conspiracy theories. It's really interesting that you should say that right now, Neko. But, I mean, we have established a certain pattern of, like, not using our time well. Like, the very beginning of the game sees us spend an hour and a half not going into any of the numbered doors. Have I heard that story? Nah, please tell me that story in, like, great detail.
No, I haven't. What is it?
In 1892, 14 years before the Titanic sank, a novel was published. It was called Futility.
The Sinking of the Titanic.
It was written by an American novelist named Morgan Robertson. The story was about a big cruise ship colliding with an iceberg and sinking. Of course, if that was the only similarity, there wouldn't be any reason to mention it.
The weird thing is that the main character was named Leonardo DiCaprio.
It wasn't, though. The name of the ship, its nationality, course, departure time.
It occurred to me that this isn't one of the things I have looked up, but Moron says this is confirmed true because he had to look it up. I hadn't done that. This one sounded plausible enough that I kind of assumed it was true, but I didn't know that for sure. All of that was Leonardo DiCaprio? I know, I'm just as surprised as you are.
Size, displacement, maximum speed, number of passengers and crew, the number of lifeboats.
If we're talking about like an exact number of passengers, that is pretty weird. Some of this I imagine would be like relatively standardized, but like that would be a little weird for sure.
Even the location of the accident itself, and the cause, and the location of the damage.
But did that book mention what happened to the heart of the ocean or whatever?
Everything matches the Titanic almost exactly. It was almost as if he'd seen the whole thing happen. But this book was written 14 years before the Titanic sank.
That's only impressive if you experience time linearly. Maybe the author of this book is like an alien species or something. Yeah, that's sort of what I would guess we're on, is like, the author was like, basically knowledgeable about ships, and so like, a lot of those details, I feel like, if you know about boats, it's like, well, I mean, if it's this size, you'd probably have this many lifeboats, and if you're traveling in like, that kind of like ocean temperature or whatever, like you would travel at this speed. Like, a lot of that's not like that surprising, but like one that does catch me a little bit is like the crew, or like the number of passengers specifically, because it's like, if it's like down to a single person, like that's a little specific, because like there's a lot of variables that could factor into that.
But that's not all. It wasn't just futility that predicted the sinking of the Titanic.
Although it could be something like around that time, like people were working towards some specific goal, that like they wanted to make a cruise ship that was like a certain size so that it could have like X many people and be like a selling point. Like there could have been something like that, in which case it'd be like less surprising.
There were 2 other similar stories written by a man named William Thomas Stead.
I mean, if both of those other stories were written by one guy, that's definitely only one additional story extra impressive. Like, if one guy just kept writing the same ominously accurate story, it would be weird that he was doing that, but it would be, like, equally weird that he was just writing the same story over and over.
Both of them before the accident. One in 1886 and one in 1892. Stead wrote 2 stories that had striking similarities to the Titanic disaster.
Again, just as an aside, just like an awful lot of like offhand, like casual Titanic information for like a random person to have. Did she like just write a book report or something?
In one, 2 ships collided. Many of the passengers died because there weren't enough lifeboats. In the other, a ship collided with an iceberg and sank.
I don't know. I mean, I'll give you that it seems a little weird, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't too uncommon for ships to hit icebergs back in the day, or even other ships.
Right, I knew you'd say that.
Uh-oh, we're about to fall prey to like a Phoenix Wright trap.
But what if Stead had some sort of special powers?
Alright, but like theorizing that he had special powers doesn't prove that he had special powers.
To be more specific, what if he had the ability to do automatic writing?
I forgot that this is mentioned in this one.
What? Automatic writing? Wait, are you talking about when someone's possessed by a spirit and then they write a bunch of stuff without knowing what they're writing?
What if the moon was made of hot fudge? I'd be much more excited about going there, Demolition. Instead, as I understand it, there's like a lot of radioactive dust.
Yes.
What do you mean, yes? That stuff's a load of bull. Okay, let's say, hypothetically, that automatic writing isn't a total load.
Hypothetically, it's not a total load. That's a fun sentence.
These guys still couldn't have predicted the sinking of the Titanic. When this Stead dude wrote his thing, nobody had died on the Titanic yet. So if automatic writing is about being possessed by dead people, who the hell possessed him so he could write that stuff?
I mean, maybe ghosts are among the individuals that don't experience time in a linear fashion.
That's not it.
What's not it?
Stead wasn't possessed by a spirit. He was doing the possessing.
So, I think we're suggesting that Stead, like, really wanted to sell his book that had been out for a while, but, like, it wasn't doing great. So he found a ship that matched the description of his story, and then, like, that made headline news so that he could go around being like, hey, you know what? I predicted this. And he used his ghost possession powers to sink the Titanic. That does seem like the most obvious solution.
What are you smoking?
William Thomas Stead was a passenger on the Titanic. He just wrote down what he saw with his own eyes 20 years before it happened.
Just like how The Simpsons predicts everything. Basically, yes.
Why don't we talk about this some other time, okay?
Huh? But...
I've exhausted my patience for whatever it is we're doing here.
Come on, let's get back to it.
All that for a rusty knife. We're really in trouble. I know I'm just repeating myself, but this really is a futility moment. That blade is so rusty. Yeah, I know. Can't cut a darn thing with a knife like this. If we're gonna cut anything, we probably have to sharpen the knife. There just aren't that many games in the world where instead of just like picking up a knife for your inventory, you get a whole conversation about ghosts on the Titanic, you know? You just don't see that often. Cheese! Yeah, there's something behind the cheese. You're right. Why don't we move some of the cheese? Alright guys, time to move it. June and I need to look behind you. There's a little green bottle back there. Bottle of oil. Oh, cooking oil. You could probably use this to make something slippery. Yeah, like a professional wrestler or something. Yeah. Nicker says, you should eat all the cheese and go into a food coma. The jam must be hidden in here too. I mean, we could do that, but the jam coma didn't seem to work out so great for everyone. There's milk here. Milk in an iron barrel. Judging by the rust, it's probably really old. You really, really shouldn't drink it. Really. Really don't. Oh, I'm so glad that Angel of Iron got my extremely bad Monterey Jack impression. At least enough to, like, know that that's what I was going for. He'd be excited about all that cheese for sure. He would definitely, like, tank an entire investigation for that much cheese. He would swim through a lake full of water for that cheese. God, I don't even want to think about, like, evacuating an entire iron barrel full of, like, spoiled milk. There's so much stuff in here. A whole lot of cans. This is probably a pantry. All we've got here is a pot and a frying pan. Oh, and a pressure cooker. Guess we could use some of those as weapons. What kind of an idiot are you? You're gonna run around holding that thing while you're looking for the dead? Hey man, it was just a joke. Why so serious? Do you want to know how I got these scars? I can't have the rolling pin, huh? Oh, a countertop. There's a rolling pin and a colander there. Nothing useful. But cartoons have taught me that rolling pin is weapon. This table is for preparing food. There are plates everywhere. Got a whetstone. I'll search it. A whetstone? What are you planning to do with that? Don't tell me you're gonna try and smash open the card reader. Are you an idiot? If you do that, then we'll never get out of here. Oh, yeah, I guess that would be bad, huh? This whetstone's only gonna be useful if we need it to sharpen something. Like the object we specifically said we needed to sharpen earlier. Maybe I'll use the whetstone to sharpen the knife. The blade of the knife is getting sharper by the second. I should be able to cut something pretty good with this. Like Santa! Arrgh! Okay, I'm gonna be honest in that I'm not an expert about sharpening knives. Would sharpening the knife get rid of the rust? Because it was coated with rust, like, not even just, like, on the blade, or not, like, the edge of the blade. It was just, like, rust. It just became rust. So, I guess you managed to sharpen the knife, huh, Junpei? Who are you gonna stab with that? No one! Well, maybe someone. You could probably cut something soft with that. Like, Santa? That's not how that works. I mean, that's my suspicion, Angel, but at the same time, the game says that's how it works. Oh, it's a +3 whetstone? That does actually answer my questions, Oron. A sink. Still got water in it. There's a couple of plates in here, but I don't think they're gonna help us much. Yeah, that don't impress me much. Boy, rotating around this room is a really confusing experience. Alright, it's going. Do you think this was all part of Zero's plan? Probably. Kinda hard to believe there's a chef on board somewhere. I wonder what this drawer is. You see the metal grate on top of the grill? They make it like that so the fat and juices can drip off while it cooks. Fat. This is the door we came through. It's not locked. We could go back, but it doesn't do anything. Let's take a look at this thing. I think I need clues before I can actually do anything with this, which is why I wasn't looking at it. Bottles of seasoning. So this gives me... Does it give me the order to put them into? What do the plates do? Here's a little quiz for you. What would 9 plus F be? In base 10. 24? I'm really bad at hexadecimal. I don't know why I never managed to get good at it. It's not frankly that hard. Well, F equals 15, so it'd be 9 plus 15, which would be 24, right? That's right. Good job, you're a fast learner. There are 9 plates. 9 is not even in hexadecimal. It's the one that shows me all of them. Nine plates for appetizers. 10 soup plates. 10 is A. 15 is F. 16 is 10. That is nuts! So, 9, A, F, 10? No, because this doesn't actually require hexadecimal. I don't remember. I feel like there's like a paper clue that I need before I access that. Oh, I know what I need to do. I'm dumb. I need ye old WD-40 for this super great lock that we should definitely trust. Yeah, I think that's where we're at. I think we have the numbers, but not which ones to use. I think there's a thing that will help us position them so it does what we need. The bolt is rusted in place. It won't budge. Of course! Maybe if I put some oil on it. Hey, just a bit of oil and... Come on. Come on. Oh, maybe I should have put some of this on the lock. Hey, got it. We did it, Jumpy. You're so smart. SMRT.
Oh, it's cold in here.
There must be some Tauros in the atmosphere.
What is this place?
Are you blind?
I don't think being able to see changes your ability to recognize what room we're in.
It's a freezer.
Oh, no way. That's way too cold for me.
I mean, you are basically not wearing clothes, so, like, that
I'll
tracks.
freeze solid in seconds. Sorry, but I'm afraid I'll have to pass on this one. I'm going to leave the rest to you.
Oh, whoa. It's really cold in here.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to say, right? Or Snake feels himself being slighted somehow. It's one of those things where it's like, I almost wonder if he said that because he's, like, recently had an experience with a blind person and so it comes more readily to mind or something like that.
Hey, you don't need to be in here. You had a fever just a little bit ago. You should stay outside. We got this.
No, I'm fine. My fever's gone now.
But...
Well, that seems to have gone pretty badly.
No! Why did it suddenly close? Ah! The knob's frozen!
You hate to see that.
But why?
It looks like the pipe next to it broke, and...
Well, time makes fools of us all.
Hey, Lotus! You're out there, right? Open the door!
Yeah, fever.
What do you want? What's going on?
Luckily, we haven't seen a relapse of it yet. It just happened early on in the sort of starting area. But spending time in the freezer might not help with that. Yeah, right? It's like definitely suspicious. I mean, you have to consider too that like in this playthrough we've already had those conversations with Lotus where she's talking about like teaming up with people and like scheming about sacrificing people so that we can get to the number 9 door and stuff. It's like she seems to be kind of opportunistic. Is there some reason it would be helpful to her to have us out of the picture? I wonder about that.
The door won't open! Try opening it from that side, please!
Oh, fine.
Really can't be bothered to try to open the door? Like, that's the big inconvenience?
You say so. Hold on. It's no use. It won't budge. You've got more people in there. You figure it out.
I'm gonna, like, work on my nails or something. I don't have time for this.
Oh.
I would describe this situation as futile. Hey, Santa, have you heard about a book called Futility?
God damn it.
Anyway, let's find a way out. If we don't get moving, we're gonna be permanent residents.
Do we get a separate Seek a Way Out jingle for being trapped in a room within a room?
Two heads are better than none. I'm sure we'll figure something out.
Yeah. Let's just take a good look around this room, okay?
Right.
Yeah, right. Seek a way. Ugh. Let's check the biggest thing in the room. I got some frozen chicken. It's really hard. It's frozen stiff. Hey, June, could you say that again? Huh? Say it again. It's really hard. Again? It's really hard. Thanks. Something wrong, Junpei? Your face is bright red. No, good, all good, I'm fine. If it's that hard, you could probably use it as a hammer. Yeah, good point. Maybe we can use it to break something. I'd prefer it if we didn't. Oh, you meant the chicken. I haven't played any of the Trails of Cold Steel games, but I do not doubt that these are some well-trafficked voice actors in the anime community. I got some dry ice. Dry ice? Can't you make that stuff cause an explosion if you seal it in something that's airtight? Explode? Yeah, didn't you do that in school? I did not. You should never underestimate the power of expanding gas. Is that a fart joke? Danger Lex, is this your first time playing 999? It is not! This has been one of my favorite game series for a long time. And I do a lot of, like, visual novels and adventure, like, graphical adventure style games on my channel. And I thought it was, like, finally time to share one of my favorite games with my regulars who don't, like, a lot of them aren't familiar with the game. So, I'm trying not to discuss too many, major spoilers going through it, even though I myself have played it before. But welcome. I am also a big fan of the game. Glad to have you in. Took a small nap because work was rough. I hear that, Arcadius. I've had a pretty bad week myself, but hope the nap helped. And Angel, thank you for gifting us up to Danger Lex. Have another one of these, why don't you? By the way, I fixed the green screen problem. Would you like to know what it is? Would you like to know what the green screen problem was? So I worked out all the hard parts of getting a green screen video clip and syncing the audio to it and wiring it up to work off a chat command. But for video clips, Triggerfire defaults the transition to a fade effect. And what that means is that in the transition period from the video starting and ending, it, fades up from and down to black. While it's doing that, it's changing the green screen color because it's becoming black. And while it's doing that, OBS is no longer able to key out the color because it's not green anymore. It's really stupid. It's like a really stupid problem that's easily solved once you know what it is. But it's dumb. Had to stay away from the stream because you were playing the AI game and you plan on playing those. I would love to hear your thoughts on those games when and if you play through them, Moron. I have mixed feelings about them, more mixed than the Nonary games. But, I mean, if you're a fan of stuff like this, there's a good chance you will like them. How many pads have we done so far? We actually, just earlier this stream, got our first ending, which was the submarine ending. And now we started from the beginning and went through the number 4 door, and we're trapped in the walk-in freezer. I'll be honest, I always forget the exact sequence of what we do in here.
Carbon dioxide, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we're pretty close to the beginning of the game. Particularly given the nature of the submarine ending. What was that? Was that the follow? I have the wrong window up. And also the Russian accent. Thank you for the follow, Dangerlegs. Also, I don't know why the Russian accent.
I wonder how warm it has to get for it to turn back into gas again.
Hell if I know. How is that going to help us anyway?
I appreciate and I share that sentiment. Any Zero Escape player gets a follow in my books. Yeah, I'm a fan. Typically I try to like wait a few years between playing the game myself, even though it's one of my favorites. I play it a lot. But I in the in-between times I will find people to watch play it. I'm just a big fan.
Oh, well, I figured we might be able to use it to get out of here.
Carbon dioxide sublimation point is negative 109 degrees.
I just love that the characters in Uchikoshi games like can't help but talk like Uchikoshi characters. Like instead of being like, "Oh yeah, we could use carbon dioxide as a bomb. We would just have to do like X, Y, and Z." We're like, "All right, we're also scientists, so the sublimation point is minus 109 degrees."
Any warmer than that, and it'll turn into gas. Any lower, and it becomes a solid.
Oh, how do you know that?
Despite my looks, I'm the the queen of random knowledge.
That's such a good line read.
Looks bad to mess up when you're showing off.
That's just very good. For reference, those of you new here, I have never played the remaster, the Non-Rate Games remaster with the voice acting and the flowchart, so I've never heard the delivery of lines like this, and that's very good.
Oh, you're so cold your mouth's going numb?
Yeah, that's right.
You're just doing that on purpose, aren't you?
Come on, guys. Don't you think that's kind of weird?
More than kind of weird, I feel like we have better ways to spend this time before we freeze to death. But, you know, that's just me personally.
Why it doesn't turn into a liquid first?
What do you think? Is it odd that this substance sublimates in that fashion, goes straight from solid to gas and gas to solid without a transitional state? That's pretty typical of things becoming vapor. Does that seem odd to you, chat? Okay, it says Argel Moof, June 2022. Actually, it's currently September. Got you so good, question mark? Probably wouldn't be so cold if they didn't have random long conversations in the freezer. I mean, that is one factor. Another factor is Sansa's lack of sleeves probably isn't helping. I'm in a chemistry class and I should know, but I don't. Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I've been in a chemistry class, but I don't know. Generally speaking, I do find those things a little odd. At the very least, we should probably get a more prolonged explanation, which also means we'll freeze to death. Yeah, it's true. We could simply
picture an
have to get used to where I've put all these on my soundboard since I set this up.
It is kind of weird.
We all wanted like a bunch more explanation, right?
But it can turn into a liquid. Carbon dioxide turns to liquid if you put it under high enough pressure. But at 1 atmosphere, normal air pressure...
It won't turn into a liquid, right?
That's right. Instead of melting, it'll do what's called sublimating and change immediately from a solid state to a gaseous one.
Okay, is that your way of saying that you don't need a prolonged explanation while we slowly freeze to death? The thing I was just picturing is that, like, whether or not Lotus, like, deliberately trapped us in here, I like to imagine her, like, listening at the door and being like, are they serious right now? Are they for real?
See, that is weird. Water's a liquid between 32 degrees and 212 degrees, so why isn't that the case for carbon dioxide?
There's a kind of ice that doesn't turn into liquid when it goes above 32 degrees.
Huh?
I heard about it. Its melting point is 96 degrees.
Ice with a melting point of 96 degrees?
Yes, I to be honest, I have only recently gotten in good habits of regularly updating stuff to YouTube. I I worked out some back-end stuff on my end to make it easier to upload that, but yeah, you should be able to find all of the previous segments on there. Those are all up at this point.
You mean there's water that freezes at 96 degrees?
Yeah, well, you could also look at it as ice that won't melt until it's 96 degrees.
So what's this ice with a melting point of 96 degrees called?
I heard it's called Ice 9.
Ah, Ice 9. There's that number again.
Ice 9?
Originally, Ice 9 was a made-up substance invented by a science fiction author. But recently, scientists have discovered that such a substance actually exists.
I do like the occasional, like, shuddering in the voice acting, but it really does only serve to underscore how insane it is to have this conversation right now.
Hold up. So is this thing called Ice 9, or is it water?
Like I said, if the ice is over 96 degrees, it'll be liquid. If it's under that, it'll solidify.
But, like, if you're calling it a separate substance, is it molecularly identical to water? Or is it actually something different that just seems to have similar properties to water? Angelique says, I love 999, but I think I like VLR a little bit more. Yeah, VLR is definitely my favorite. I think most people like 999 most, but, like, there's a lot of little things about VLR that just, like, that I personally relate to more.
So, you could think of it as a polymorph of H2O. Here, think of it like diamonds and graphite.
When she starts the sentence with here, it makes me think that she's, like, actively, like, diagramming this out in, like, the frost on the floor or something, while we all, like, die of hypothermia.
They're both made of carbon, right? But depending on the structure of the crystallization, the hardness and structure are completely different.
The voice acting is really impressive, but again, it really just makes the scene seem even more ridiculous.
So you're saying normal water and this Ice 9 are like that?
Yep.
That's kind of fair, Oron. I feel like that's... I don't begrudge you feeling that you don't like the cast as much.
Have you heard the story about the crystallization of glycerin?
Katie says, weird score, Beverly Hills, 90210, Zero Escape, 999. Yeah, but we still got the third quarter to make it up.
For 150 years after the discovery of glycerin, people cooled it, warmed it. They did all sorts of things to it, but whatever they did, it never crystallized. However, one day in 1920, some glycerin on its way to England by ship was discovered to have crystallized during the trip. Scientists around the world wanted to research this new, crystallized form of glycerin and asked for seeds. Oh, a seed is a sample of the original crystallized substance.
Is this not what you wanted, Nego? Did you not want, like, another, like, extremely long explanation for no reason while we were in a dire situation of exposure?
With a seed crystal, further crystallization of glycerin would be easy. However, something very strange happened. Not only did the glycerin encouraged by seed crystals begin to crystallize, even the samples nearby did, even though they were tightly sealed. And it didn't end there. After that day, it doesn't matter where in the world it is, all glycerin crystallizes naturally when cooled to less than 64 degrees. Before that day, no matter how glycerin was cooled, it refused to crystallize. But once the crystallization had begun, it was almost like... how do I put it? It was almost like all the glycerin in the world was communicating in some way that we can't sense. And now it's happening everywhere.
Hey, chat. Honest impression here. Were we impressed with that explanation, or are we kind of annoyed? I think I know the answer to this one, but I'm just... Try not to watch 999 because you get a little paranoid. Like, some of this stuff does feel spooky. I mean, one of the reasons I wanted to play... I mean, I started playing this on September 9th because all the 9s, obviously. But, also I was trying to, like, find something that was, like, an ease into the spookiness of October. I've been streaming this on Fridays, and then on Saturdays I've been trying out some games that I thought were spooky, and the first one has not been spooky so far. But Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's not, like, scary a lot of the time, although we've already had an ending where several people were dead, so, like, there's, like, real horror aspects to it, too, for sure. Like, I'm actually surprised chat's general sense seems to be impressed.
Wow,
We're impressed with that.
That's pretty interesting. But,
we are all going to die,
What
however.
does that have to do with Ice 9?
What she's saying is that it's a lot like Ice 9. What happened, I mean.
A lot like? Oh, that would be bad. If water everywhere started freezing at 96 degrees?
Man, it would ruin all of our fast food beverages. Wait, Alcadius, is that true? Is it true that Donkey Kong isn't a donkey? He's actually a gorilla? I feel like... I was thinking about this recently. It's like, I actually feel like there would, like, legitimately be an audience for a game that, like, just took the types of conversation that I pretty much only know from these games and, like, just, like, absolutely, like, parodied them. And, like, that was it. Like, the gameplay was just, like, some real basic escape rooms, and then, like, they're, like, punctuated by a bunch of really stupid conversations with stuff like that, where, like, some character just, like, stops in the middle of some escape room, and they're like, have you ever heard of Donkey Kong? He's a video game character, but he's not actually a donkey. And then it just, like, somehow goes on for, like, 12 minutes, and you're like, what did I just listen to?
It'd be the end of the world.
999 talking is a free action. The truer statements never uttered.
At any rate, we're not gonna have to worry about the end of the world unless we can get out of here pretty damn quick.
I'm afraid we're already dead. We're actually a bunch of ghosts who are still talking.
Alright, guys.
Even though our bodies are on the
that's enough
floor.
of that. I didn't think we'd get quite this far off topic.
Was this not the topic? Wait, what were we doing before?
I'm kinda at fault here, but we can't be screwing around anymore. So seriously, I might go by the name Santa right now, but I didn't grow up in Iceland. I freaking hate the cold.
I'm actually a little surprised that I don't think we go into, like, a deep dive on the history of Iceland and
So
Greenland.
let's get cracking, alright? We gotta find a way out of here.
Selfish, isn't he?
Nico asks if this is what I do when I go to escape rooms. Usually I've gone with my family and then just, like, tried to, like, explain every single clue that I think I find and be really obnoxious about it because I want to feel clever all the time. It's, like, not a super, like, attractive quality.
Ice 9 is interesting and all, but we can discuss it more once we get out of this freezer.
This thing's frozen solid. This pork? Yeah, it seems like it. What's this thing? It looked like a tag or something? Chunk of pork. Jumpy, is there a slip of paper in that meat? I think there's something written on here, but I can't read it like this. If we try and pull it out, it'll probably rip. You need to defrost that. Don't think we're gonna be doing that in this room. What else do I need? Everything's frozen in here. It doesn't look like there's anything else interesting. Ah! Water bottle! A water bottle. Yes, it is! Got there. A sturdy rope. Alright, so if I ever went to an escape room, I'd be compelled to yell, "Seek a way out!" Yeah, that's valid. I talk about this all the time because it's my favorite thing I've ever did. There was briefly an officially licensed Virtue's Last Reward escape room, like a physical escape room. And I made two of my friends here in Los Angeles, like, go to it with me. And it's the coolest thing. I really liked it. They even had, like an introductory video with the voice actress who played Clover, like, explaining the scenario, and everyone had to wear bracelets and stuff, and then we were, like, trapped in color-coded rooms. Sturdy rope. Definitely not kinky. Yeah, like, we're definitely not gonna take this back to the bedrooms that we found in the earlier portion of the escape segment. It's a rope. Well, we could use it attached something to something else, I suppose. I always forget, like, what the actual thing I need to do here is, because it's, like, some MacGyverism that requires knowledge that is not intuitive to me. Hey, Junpei, didn't you find some dry ice earlier? Yeah. There's warm water coming out of that pipe. Warm water and dry ice. What do you think would happen if we put that stuff in a sealed container together? So I fill the water bottle with the this? There's water dripping from this pipe. Looks like when the pipe burst, water hit the doorknob and froze in place. Water actually seems almost warm. Warm water flowing through the pipe. Let's forget the stupid head. Arcadia says at work we have to make pulled chicken for people like salads and stuff. We usually use leftover rotisserie chicken from the day before. But if we have none, we make extras and chill them to pull. Well, they did that this morning and put it in the freezer, but never told us about it. So I go to put a box up, and there was a pile of frozen solid chickens on a tray. That's definitely not very cash money. I agree with that. Also, hi, Crit Twitch. How's it going? I'm just gonna combine items at random because I never remember how this works. I know it's something to do with, like, the water bottle's like the sealed container, and you put the dry ice in it, and you hang it from a rope and you water, but, like, I don't remember exactly how it goes. I need this. Okay. What about... Okay, what if I just, like, stab the pork? Oh, okay. Oh. What's the first thing I do? Thankful for the official workday to be over. Oh, I totally hear that. Man, I feel so stupid. It's also, like, pretty late here, so I'm actually just being stupid. I don't think I'm missing anything from this room, right? Hold on. Let's start by putting... Okay. Gotta figure out a way to make the ice smaller. So you want me to cut... Do I literally cut the ice? That sounds dumb. No, hold on. Let's do it like this. It's dry ice. Let's combine it with literally everything. Alright, it's so hard I could use it as a hammer. Yeah, that's not like the most... Like, you could just kind of... Like, it's already in a bag. You could, like, hit it against a wall. That's just like a weird use of chicken. Arcadius, do you ever use, like, a whole frozen chicken as a hammer at your work? Do they do that? It's 9:30. It's not that late. It's that late when I got up at 6:30, but actually I got up at 5:30 because I had a weird dream and couldn't get back to sleep. And also this week has been, to quote a knowledgeable scholar, butts. Alright, so I got my crumbled dry ice. Hey, if I just keep trying to use this on the door, will he just explain the whole order of operations? Junpei, you're doing it wrong. You gotta put the crushed ice into the water. Okay, that's what I wanted to do before. I do like that I can just make him do it. I put it in the water bottle. No, you're averaging 3 hours right now? Yeah, like, on a normal day I get between, like, 6 and 6.5 hours. Definitely got, like, less than 5.5 hours last night. Just, like, when I, like, woke up from that dream, I was just like, I am up now! I'm just up! I'm just awake now! But also, like, I won't bore everyone with the details, but, like, at work we just had this, like, massive project of, like, thing that had to get done this week, and, like, let's just say that all the people I had to work with from outside my own company were, like, absolutely not cooperating even a little bit. So, like, everything was, like, as difficult as it could possibly be for no good reason. You don't actually use frozen chicken hammers. You have, like, rubber mallets. That's weird. That's interesting. Go back to dishes. Yeah, I gotta, you know, I'm gonna have to get back to the dishes sooner or later. But first I gotta have Santa tell me every step of this process. And let's just tie a rope on there, you know, for good. Just like put a rope on. To look at this, it's not clear why I want the rope on it. I think I remember why I want the rope on it, but like it kind of just looks like I didn't know what to do with the rope, so I tied it to the bottle. Hey, why don't we use that rope to tie the bottle onto the doorknob? We just have to put some water in it, and then if we give it a good whack with something, kaboom! It'll explode and break the ice off the door. Then what are we waiting for? I can't take this cold any longer. Funny thing about the cold, have you heard about Ice 9? Looks like we're keeping the pork. Oh yeah, this is precious pork. We're not using that for any reason.
Put water into the bottle with dry ice, and make sure the lid's closed. Now I just have to put this makeshift bomb on the doorknob. Alright, that's set.
This seems safe and cool and normal.
What do we do now?
Shake that bottle up. Yeah, man, it's like Mentos and Diet Coke, right? Same difference.
We just need to give it a little tap. The bottle's already about to pop. If we just throw a rock or something at it, it'll go off all on its own.
A small rock. Huh. A small rock.
Have you ever heard about this philosopher who believed that small rocks... Oh my god!
Alright, this ought to do the trick.
Ah, some dry ice, huh? Not a bad idea.
Alright, guys, stand back.
It's a pretty bad idea to just, like, hold on to dry ice with your bare hand, right? Probably even worse in a freezer, I would think?
Where exactly do you expect us to hide, genius?
Just like a weirdly conspicuous hatch in the
There
ground.
isn't really anywhere big enough.
Yeah, there is. Look, right here. We can hide in there.
It's actually kind of absurd for them to say this. Because, like, there's this, like, pretty big-looking, like, fridge cupboard, whatever you want to call this thing. And then, like, also, like, what appears to be a rather large trapdoor in the ground. There's no place we can hide!
Come on, get inside, quick!
Like, when you show it from, the angle where you, like, pick up the items, it doesn't look that deep. But when you show it from this angle, it looks like the hatch from Lost. It looks like there's, like, a 50-foot ladder straight down or something.
Alright, here I go. 3, 4, 5.
3, sir!
Hatching the wrong way.
Oh, oops.
That is a really sad excuse for a joke, man.
We're literally freezing to death.
Sorry, dude. Alright, for real this time. You guys ready?
I'd love it if he just did it again. He changed nothing and he just did the same joke again.
Yes, whenever you're ready.
Just throw the damn thing.
Alright, here I go. 3,
I love
2,
all the mental preparation that goes into these things. Alright, I'm going to open the door.
Jumpy! The ice on the door! Is it gone?
Yeah, it's gone!
I'm dying!
The blast must have shattered it.
Yes! Alright, let's see if it opens.
Hooray! We're out!
Move! Oh, god damn it! Fuck!
I like to think he just put his hand directly on the grill, not thinking about it at all.
Well, you did just grab the grill. What did you think would happen?
Hey, where's Lotus?
Just directly on there. And I feel like it's kind of implied he didn't do that because, like, that's, like, genuinely insane. But, like, I like to think he was just like... Which is actually funny. One of the... If you've ever seen, like, I think they're from Sony, the, like, escape room movies. One of them has something like that, and I, like... the first time it comes up, I'm like, and then they have, like, a reason for it, but, like,
Welcome back. I was starting to get tired of waiting for you guys.
We literally almost died!
What were you doing?
What do you mean, what was I doing? I was waiting.
We were gonna die!
Oh, yeah? But you didn't. So everything worked out all right, didn't it?
Cool.
What the hell?
Just kidding. It might not look like it, but I was really worried.
I promise, I definitely care about all of you guys. What do you mean sarcastic?
Oh, don't give me that crap.
I'm telling the truth.
I mean, if you died, then I'd be in trouble too. If you died, then I'd be stuck here, and I'd die too. See?
That's honestly not that comforting of an
I did
explanation.
all I could. I even looked around to see if there was anything I could use to pry open the door. But I couldn't find anything. So, all I could do was wait.
Couldn't find anything, and she's like casually like twirling a crowbar around for fun. Oh, this? Yeah, it's a baton I found.
What else did you want me to do?
Fine. But there's one thing I have to ask you.
What's that?
What was F in hexadecimal again?
You closed the door, did you?
What? You think I closed the door on you? Why would I do something like that? It closed on its own. I told you before, if you die, then I die too.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
If she really wanted to kill us, all she had to do was bar the door from the outside. But she didn't. Well, she didn't do anything. She's only lazy, or negligent at least. Not an attempted murderer.
More like manslaughterer.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, yes, well that's all right. As long as you understand.
Hey, no more screwing around, you two. Break time's over. Especially for you, lady. You've just been sitting on that fat ass of yours while we were freezing to death.
How rude! I was plenty busy.
Do you think she doesn't comment on the other part of his statement because she finds it flattering? I don't know. I feel like she'd have a response to that.
Yeah. How about you put all that energy into something besides bitching? Let's go.
Such good friends. Alright, we're back to the music. Alright, so I still got an item in my inventory, and I gotta do something about it. Guess I'll put this meat on the grill. Hey, what are you doing? What are you going to do with the paper birds? Come on, it'll be fine. I mean, it's not like it's gonna burn right away, right? We just gotta keep an eye on it, and the paper will be fine. Now, they can argue all they want. I'm gonna keep an eye on this pork. Looks like it's about time. Oh, it's one of those safety hobs from Plate Up, where, like, the meat can't possibly burn, so it, like, got cooked and then it just stopped. I'm gonna try taking the paper out. Jumpy, be careful. Sweet of her to care, but I know what I'm... Ah, my hand! See? I told you. What are you doing? Hurry up and take the paper out. It's not coming out. Thing's frozen stiff. I can't get it out. So are we going to have to cut the meat? Yeah, it looks that way. I like how they make that sound like that's some, like, huge project. Oh no, we have to cut the meat? Alright, now that I've sharpened the knife... Yes, I cut the pork! I am the champion! Awesome, Junpei. Now we can cut out the paper. C plus 10 plus F. Okay. So A is 10, B is 11, C is 12, plus 16, so 28, right? Oh god, it's so late for my brain to do hexadecimal math that for some reason I'm naturally bad at. Plus 15 is 33, 43? Wait, does my, like, weird built-in calculator have hex in it? I think it does. C plus 10 plus F, you think it's some kind of code? They're just screwing around! That's his answer to everything. Do you know what C and F stands for? You think maybe it means corporate finance? I thought it was clever and funny. Did you say anything else? No, it says the thing on it. Oh god. What's the command that brings up calculator? I think right is... It's probably up or down, right? Nope, it says probably right, if that's flowchart. Nope, it's like literally the last one of them I tried. Left. No, it doesn't do hexadecimal. But, hold on. So, it's 10. 12 plus... Yeah, right? Plus 16 plus... F? It's 15? Oh, but it's not actually... I think it wants all the digits, right? I think it's 1... Because, like, this is like a long readout. I think I need the whole thing. I think it's 1, 2, 1, 6, 1, 5? Is that right? I'm gonna try both of these and be wrong twice. Oh no, it's like a small number. So like 43? Okay, great. It's really uncommon to want just like a 2-digit number if there's not like a really specific readout. But it's fine. It's just 43. It's just actual addition. I overcomplicated it because I made weird assumptions for no reason. It sounds like metal is falling! Oh, I guess that went well. So does it, like, open now? Okay. Yeah! The door opened! Good job, Jumpy! I got the Saturn card. Looks like a lowercase h, but the line through it is throwing me off. This is the symbol for Saturn. Remember, there was an elevator next to the main staircase. Wasn't there a mark like this on the card reader next to it? Oh yeah, I remember that. I guess that means this card ain't gonna help us get out of this room then. I'm not sure. Why don't we try it out? It would be weird for us to get a key card when we need a key card to escape and it not be the one to help us escape. Beep 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 beep. This game actually forces you to do math. I know, I'm really struggling too. You did it, Jumpy. Let's get out of here. Click it again. Yes, let's go. I'm going to open the door. You found it.
I think we've been here before.
Now, do I have access to menu? I do. And I will save over this one we made. That I guess is file 3, even though I think it should be file 4. Let's return to the title screen. Hello, it's me, Big Vasco. Hi, how's everybody doing? It's getting late-ish. Usually I run from 6 p.m. Pacific to somewhere between 9 and 10, depending on the game and how things are going. We're in the middle of that escape room, and I kind of wanted to finish that, but we'll pick up the story from there next time, I think. We'll be back next Friday, again, 6 p.m. Pacific. Tomorrow, I think we're going to play some more Lamplight City. We got some mixed reactions from folks as to whether it's something that we want to continue into October, partially because it seemed like it would be spooky, and so far it hasn't been. But I think we're close to finishing, like, the first part of that story, and I kind of want to see if that changes our impression of the game. So, like, I figure we'll try that tomorrow, and if we're still not impressed, we'll move to something more obviously spooky. We'll do a little bit more research into what exactly that means. Neko was kind enough to... Oh, dang, it's, like, defaulting to eye catch. That's weird. I didn't even know that we had that. Should I just close this? Let me just close this. The game is closed. Yeah, so Lamplight City tomorrow, starting same time, 6 p.m. Pacific. Next Friday, we'll be back with more 999, which we'll be playing, I don't know. I didn't think it was going to take that long, but I think I've been underestimating the rate at which I go the way I stream as opposed to how I play it. That's fine. But I'm looking forward to that and learning more. We already had our first ending. I encourage everyone to think about what information they think that we've learned from that and see if you can figure out what you think might be going on behind the scenes. But before we close out the stream, as some people in chat have already guessed, it's time to find the secret Squirtle. Somewhere on this couch behind me, I have hidden a Squirtle. if you can see it, like this chap up here, oh my god, syncing in real time is hard, that was not a secret. But if you can find the secret Squirtle hiding behind or under or generally around one of these other folks on the couch behind me, it will be an omen of good luck for you in the week to come. So, if you have a moment, think real hard. Where might I have hidden a Squirtle? You have dreams about ice. Ice 9 is such a concept. It's such an incredible concept. Okay, yes, I assume you mean this friend. He's Carlos's close cousin, Lorenzo the Lobster. He's a relatively new addition, but Carlos is small. Thank you for the gift subs. To those participating, thank you very much. Thank you to the new people for hanging out. Hope to catch you on a future stream. But for now, let me gather these guesses and see if we can find that Squirtle. So, under Baby Yoda, under our lobster friend, behind the pillow. Any final guesses? Altogether, it looks like 2 guesses. Why did I call him Lorenzo? Well, the name on his tag is Lorono, which feels like something I will mispronounce. And I don't know, I kind of like that Lorenzo felt like it had kind of like a Spanish flair to it, and that sort of fit with Carlos having kind of a Spanish name, sort of. If I forget an artistic crab, can I name him Leonardo da Vinci? For some reason, that reminds me of the Futurama episode where they get superpowers and they fight the zookeeper, and he has this like menagerie of like 3 specific animals. I forget what one of them is, but one of them is like Citizen Snips, who's just like an angry lobster or an angry crab, I think. And then my favorite is what is the actual name of the elephant? The elephant has some stupid name, but then like the comment he makes is like, an elephant that never forgets to kill, which is just like the dumbest way to describe like a supervillain's like henchman. It's just like, it's a regular elephant that never forgets to kill. Someone can source that and figure out the name of the elephant, because I don't remember what it is and I feel stupid. But I always just remember the way he says it too. It's like, the elephant that never forgets to kill. Alright. Well, speaking of Carlos the Crab, a couple guesses under our friend Baby Yoda and behind our mysterious cool face emoji was hiding our clawsome buddy, Carlos. You see? As you can see, Carlos is bright red and is clawsome. Lorenzo is also great, but he is not specifically clawsome, despite the fact that he is a lobster who has claws. On the subject of Lorenzo, who looks like this, he is big and wants to hug you. Don't worry, he no pinch. Hiding back there is replica grub from Hollow Knight. Unfortunately not Squirtle. Carlos's friend at all. He's such a good crab friend. Such a good crab friend. Want to see Naomi again? Alright, I'll show Naomi. But first I have to reveal the location of the secret Squirtle. And that is, hiding behind this classic red and white Pokeball, is our littlest Squirtle, Keychain Squirtle. That was the location of our secret Squirtle this time. I figured last week I had hidden things behind the Pokeballs multiple times and no one had ever guessed. I figured someone might not guess there. So I tricked you this time. But in accordance with Neko's request and also the fact that there's some new folks here, this is Naomi. She is of similar make to Carlos and Lorenzo, except obviously not some sort of crustacean. Also, she very big. As you can see, it's me, Vasco, for scale, and she's this big. She's very good. I have very good friends on the couch. It's the reason that we play this game. It's just because I have these things and I show them off. Yes. That'll do it for the stream tonight. We'll be back, like I said, tomorrow we're going to do some more Lamplight City. We should be able to finish that first case and then see what we think about the game, I think. And then if it continues not to be spooky or people aren't interested, we'll probably pick up a different game next Saturday. But I kind of just want to give it like a fair shot before we like make that judgment. And then more 999 next Friday. So a Friday game for the foreseeable future. Obviously, don't want to rush the game. I want to give it a fair chance because it's one of my favorites. And I hope everyone's enjoying it. It means a lot to me that people come out and watch and share in it. I'm excited to have some new folks too. Welcome and thanks. And hope I will see you all soon. So thanks for being here. Thanks for being you. And I hope to see you all again soon. And until that time, whether it's tomorrow or next week or sometime in the future, I hope you stay well and stay safe. Good night, everybody.